Cool.
I'll just check on YouTube, see if it's actually working.
Ooh, we're live.
We're live, pal.
We are live.
Apparently. It says live, but YouTube's not believing us.
Oh.
We are live on YouTube.
Yay!
There we go.
We
fuck, I can hear
are
myself.
now live, pal. You got the double back?
Yeah, I'll let everyone know in the chat that we're live.
Okay, cool.
Very exciting.
I guess we could talk about the pre-show as like a pre-show to our own live stream, right?
The pre-show.
Are you
Yeah.
the only person that's seen it?
Oh God, am I the only person that saw the
I
pre-show?
was going to say I will nod
that
along
might-
because I definitely watched the pre-show. Yeah.
Oh man.
Well,
you
I
know
was
what?
there. I had to watch the pre-show.
Yeah, so true. Listen, I heard ELP got a win. And I was like, I need to watch it. That's maybe happy enough.
just the knowledge is enough.
Just the knowledge. MX, talk us through the pre-show. How was it? What was it like?
Oh my God, my memory is really bad. I remember feeling largely positive about the pre-show.
That's good. That's good. Much better than largely negative, for sure.
Yeah. The Adam Cole getting sick, it was like a devastating turn of events. Like that was just really, it was gutting. Yeah, it was. I was really sad about it.
For me, like it was like a nothing match. Didn't really matter, but I love Tom Lawler and I really like Adam Cole, so I was like, this is a really fun matchup.
That's the point. I thought it would be so much fun. I thought that they would really like have a good time with it, so that was a shame, but we did get to see Tom Lawler. It was Tom Lawler Serpentico. It was a good match.
Was that a dark match or was it on the pre-show?
It was on the pre-show. I think it was on the pre-show. I don't know. I was in the arena. It was in the arena.
MX was busy enjoying the show.
And
we can't vouch if that's true or false because none of us watched the pre-show.
No, we're just gonna have to take MX's word for it.
Yeah. You could tell us anything that happened.
Actually, MX and Wikipedia, and who's to say who's more reliable?
Who's to say? Who's to say?
I mean, Roman Reigns was on the pre-show, but we just don't know. We didn't watch it.
A surprise debut on the pre-show.
Yeah, that one definitely wouldn't have we wouldn't have seen that on Twitter.
No, it's gone under the radar. That one, yeah.
No, yeah.
That one would just very quietly
slide right in there.
Business. Oh, here we go. Corey's come in with a comment. Pre-show was fine. The rest of the show was great. IMO, very true.
Yeah.
I'll take Corey's word there. It was fine.
Yeah, it was good. Mogul Embassy versus Chaos was really, really fun, but it was always going to be fun. I don't understand. So I love Swerve Strickland, and I don't understand the creative choices that are being made for him.
Same.
I support him. I love him very much, and I support him, but I am mystified. But it was a really good match. We had Rocky, Chuck, Trent, and Despy, all people who I love to see. They're all really fun. Despy is great. So that was really fun. My beloved Billy Starks versus Athena was also really good.
Yes,
I actually wanted to see that match.
Yeah,
I should go back and watch this.
I think that the concept of knowing I had such a big show to watch, I was like, I can't. I was like, I can't be bothered with the pre-show as well. But I completely forgot. I actually really wanted to watch that match.
I really liked it. I love Billy Starks and I love Athena. What more is there even to say? Like, they're both fantastic. So,
I think I'm the same as Libby, really, because I watched it live for the most part. But even then, I had an hour gap between, because it was Glastonbury weekend. I had an hour between Elton John finishing and the pay-per-view starting. So I was like, I sat there. I could watch the pre-show, but I watched the Queen of the Stone Age set from Glastonbury instead because I was like, I don't think I can sit through another hour of wrestling because to get burned out before the pay-per-view finished. But
that is the thing.
It's just too long.
It's perfect. I think that's perfectly fair. I mean, like, you know, I was already there. There are lots of times when I skip the pre-show too, so like I'm not gonna act like I'm better than everyone.
So true.
But yeah, I think Athena versus Billie Starkz is worth checking out. And then everything about Stu Grayson was completely mystifying to me and my friend. We were both like, why is Stu here? What is happening? Why is he a bad guy? We know nothing. We're completely mystified, and we both don't like ELP.
What's with this ELP hate, man? What is with it?
Apparently, when I wasn't looking, that became a controversial take. Whatever.
I wouldn't say controversial. I just, you know, ELP is so near and dear to my heart. It shocks me on a personal level. I'm gonna need a itemized list of why, so I can understand. Okay. And maybe reframe myself. But I did think I was like, oh, Stu Grayson's got a match in Canada. He'll probably win that. And then I saw it was ELP, and I was like, what do you do then? It's two Canadians, and then one of them's from New Japan. I don't know. I didn't expect Stu Grayson to take a heel angle.
It was not a night for the Canadian baby faces.
So true.
It seems like it was not a night.
I think Tony Khan just remembered it was in Canada, so I thought I'd best put some Canadians on the pre-show just for the sake of it.
Well, he didn't remember in time to do that for Collision, but that's neither here nor there.
It is a new era for ELPs in his face era. It's turned around, going back to his roots of when he first lifted on the scene.
I actually saw him like from afar while I was waiting in line.
No way.
Yeah. It was just like chilling, like him and the Guns. They were just there. I was like, oh, hello.
That is a great combo of people that I would love to see interact.
It was really wild.
So you were there, MX. Was he popular ALP? Because he's obviously turned face, like Libby said in New Japan.
Yeah. People were really into him. So me and my friend just kind of sat there mystified as this match happened. Completely baffled by what was occurring before us. But it was good. You know, it was a good match. It was a good match to end off on. We were really getting settled in. And yeah, I mean, you know, personally, I think the pre-show, if you are interested in any of the people, is worth watching. And it did its job, right?
True. I'm always curious if these pre-shows ever really sway people on buying the pay-per-view or not.
Right? I can't imagine that they do. What was Corey? TLDR, Dutch and Vincent stole Stu from the Dark Order on ROH TV, promising him more success, so it's back down to 3. Oh, he turned on Dark Order? Stu, why?
Girl, give me a VT or something. Like a classic AEW thing. Did you not watch Ring of Honor? Do you not know? And it's like, okay.
Ring of Honor is really difficult for me because, like, I want to root for it. I want to watch it. I want it to succeed. Yeah. But TK's been really annoying me, and I don't want to watch more TK stuff. Like, I want to, like, watch other wrestling that I want to watch. You know, I'm already watching most of Dynamite and Rampage these days and, you know, spending a bunch of money to go to the pay-per-views, right? Like... Yeah.
There's only so many hours in the day.
Yeah.
You cannot watch it all. I feel this deeply. That is interesting, though. That is really, really interesting. I mean, I didn't think the Dark Order could lose more people, but apparently...
It's kind of devastating because, like, Uno and Stu have been tag partners for ages. I hate it when tag teams break up, especially long-running tag teams.
My guys,
that's more like it.
Oh, resident Orange Cassidy hater.
Oh man,
I bet
we'll
you
get
hated
to the
that
Orange Cassidy bullshit.
I can't wait for that to get that 4-way. I'm so excited.
Okay.
I loved it. Anyway, yeah.
So
out of 10, how do you rate the pre-show, MX?
I don't rate things out of 10. I rate it fine. It was fine. It was a pre-show that was before the show.
So like 7 out of 10 then.
Sure, if we must.
Perfect segue into the main show, I feel.
Yes.
Yeah, so the main show started off with MJF against Tanahashi in what was a very opener match.
Didn't we have the Los Ingobernables match before that?
Did we?
No,
was that on the pre-show?
Oh, I'm looking at like the list. Oh, is that still the pre-show? I didn't talk about that one.
To be fair, in my head, the pre-show did not happen. I mean, I don't believe it.
Right.
I think it's just like a group. Everyone's imagined it really because that pay-per-view started with MJF for me. That's
okay. It looks like it was the opening. It looks like it was the opening. It all bled together for me as well.
Was it
anyway,
like Shingo in that on the
Shingo and Hiromu. Getting to see Hiromu live, even for a little bit in a trios match, was really special to me. I love Hiromu very much. Also Jeff Cobb, who I also love. So
Jeff Cobb is amazing.
Jeff Cobb is incredible.
He's got one of the best finishers in wrestling as well, by the way.
Yes, he does.
Fantastic.
Absolutely, he does. I love it. I love the Tour of the Islands and Shingo. I still think about that Shingo versus Jeff Cobb match. That was just like in the fucking mid card of that Wrestle Kingdom. That's just it was incredible.
We don't worship Orange Cassidy here, Connor.
He's upsetting the apple cart here, Connor.
We're not even there. Oh, interesting comment from Colin there. The LIJ match should have been on the actual pay-per-view.
Yes,
I think they are holding this off until they can do a proper thing together. If they can with Rush and Andrade, I think they will just not do it until they can.
That would
can
be
make
very
that
fun.
happen. It would be very, very fun, and I just think that they're holding out for that.
They better not hold off too long though, because Andrade will be fucking off back to WWE soon, I'd imagine.
We could do it just with Rush. It's fine.
Well, he's having some great fucking matches. We've really got off topic, but he's been having some really great matches on Collision.
I'll take your word for it.
See, I have to watch Collision.
I seen the first one.
The pre-shows.
I seen the first Collision and his match was good. I started watching the second Collision, and I was just like, no, I can't be fucked with this. Self-indulgent CM Punk bullshit.
Anyway, Forbidden Door, guys. Forbidden Door.
MJF. Okay, MJF Tanahashi.
What do we think?
Good match.
Good match. Good match.
Fine match. MJF was funny. Tanahashi was as well.
Tanahashi is just like an incredibly charismatic individual. Like he's really, really compelling, even though his knees plainly don't work anymore. Unfortunately.
I mean, same. I feel that. I think we all have days like that, you know.
Yeah. But I think it was a great opening match. I think it really sort of showcased the charisma of both wrestlers really well. I had a lot of fun with it, and I am not MJF's greatest fan right now. If I ever was, I wasn't. But I think it really highlighted like all of the things that I really like about MJF. Without a whole lot of the BS, and it was special to get to see Tana live too. So I think it was a great opening match. It was a great choice of opening match.
It was. I think they worked, like MJF's bullshit works well around Tanahashi's limitations a little bit, and they were able to create like a good, like I guess more old-fashioned heel and face dynamic with MJF constantly trying to piss off from the match and just doing heel bullshit, and Tanahashi doing the babyface comeback a couple of times. I thought it was done really well.
Yeah, I think it's a credit to MJF too. Like that
he's a fantastic wrestler. Like Libby and I were speaking about this in the Forbidden Door preview. He is proving himself every single time he gets into the ring. Like he has a really high ceiling.
When he decides to get into the ring.
When he shuts up as well.
He is his best when he's having to interact with other people.
He bounces off people very good.
He has chemistry with absolutely everyone. Yeah. It's fantastic.
Or the LIJ match should have been on the pay-per-view. Yeah, I think Connor has an interesting point.
Connor's here to upset me with his New Japan title.
Which is New Japan is an indie. Don't forget. Which I just think is so funny.
It's
jacket with it on. It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
I think my issue is it's just not my sort of match, and I don't like. Yeah. I understand why people liked it, but I mean, I spent half the match arguing with someone on Twitter who said Tanahashi was rubbish on like a reply to my tweet, being like, and I was like, sort your life out. He was like, I don't know who it was, and he said, "Oh, did you see his match on Collision?" I was like, "Yeah, no, but did you see any of the matches in the last 30 years?"
Yeah,
it just wasn't my. I like Tanahashi's comeback. His like comeback spots are quite exciting. The ref stuff doesn't do anything for me, and that sort of. I enjoyed the when they were doing the abdominal stretch with his hand on the rope. That was quite smart.
Yeah, that was a cute bit. Yeah,
but like the getting the ref in the way, that sort of stuff. I'm like, I can watch the House of Torture for this. I don't want an AEW World Title match to have House of Torture like moves. But it's just not my sort of thing. But yeah, Tanahashi, it's nice to see him in that sort of spot. So.
Yeah, a comment from Corey, with Tanahashi not moving as he used to and MJF being in a plateau of being interesting post-title win, they played off each other well. The crowd was very much behind Tana and Tana rather, and MJF is good at being a dick. Yeah.
I think this match was fine.
Yeah, it was a good opener.
It was it was a good energy to kind of start it off. Reactions No, the match is not taken home match of the night, but each of them elicit kind of your roles that you want in a wrestling ring, which is your heel and your face, and they slay that. So I think it set up a good energy for the pay-per-view in general.
Comment directed at Jamie
from Connor, but also I do think Tanahashi is finished at a top tier elite level. He's too old and broken and needs to slow down now.
He's not working at an elite level. He's in the indie show that is in New Japan.
He's wrestling in bingo halls in Tokyo, isn't he? That's what he's.
The Tokyo Bingo Dome.
Yeah.
Everyone knows the Tokyo Bingo Dome. Look, it's an interesting time for Tana. You know, things are changing. He can't carry New Japan on his shoulders anymore as much as New Japan would like him to, and I'm sure he would like to, and he can deliver. Things are changing for Tana.
I kept it, like, when I was watching New Japan more regularly, I kept expecting them to like give him a fucking break. Like he's clearly needed it for a while.
Yeah.
And just like the decision is not being made, and like Tana is still incredible. Like I don't think that we should like like we should bring him back and shoot him like Old Yeller yet. Like I think people are a little much about
but people like hyperbole, don't they? Like the second that somebody's no longer at their peak, it's just like Old Yeller and
right, like he has no value.
I mean, like according to Twitter, Tanahashi couldn't walk, could he, in that match? And it's like I do agree with what Connor said there. So he's like, I think this will be his last G1. I mean, he'll do a tour of the bingo halls on his way out, and then this will be his last G1.
I do not know how they expect this man to be in the G1. But like that was like my issue when like all of the Ibushi stuff went down too. Is he had just come off like this terrible illness, and they put him right in the G1, and he couldn't do it.
It's the old school mentality of you will work through your injuries, and you could see it with Okada before he had a kid as well. Like he was fucked. He was moving very poorly, and then he came back, and he was like Kenny when he'd been off for a year. He was just reinvigorated, and you got to see the real Okada again. They need to stop doing that.
Like,
yes, give them 6 months off.
New Japan has plenty of people who can get going on, like if Tana needs to like take some time off. Just like AEW had plenty of people to keep going on when Kenny needed to take some time off, or when Jon Moxley needed to take some time off. Like talent is not the problem.
I think that New Japan were in a state for a while though, where like they hadn't elevated anyone else to the level of Okada and what Tanahashi previously was. And I think that, like, while there is an issue of their work culture there, like, I think that they were worried about the impact of losing a star. A little bit like if WWE lost Roman Reigns for a long time, actually, because they like elevated Jay White to a level, but they never really let him have the company on his back, and the same with Will Ospreay. And they've always if they've not been fully convinced by the popularity or their ability to carry the company in Japan, they've just gone straight back to Okada, and like they seem to be worried about that.
And Ibushi, it felt like too. Like they never really quite let them have their head, and I think
they will always be on
both of them really could have. Like Shingo's fabulous, Ibushi is Ibushi, and they kind of they spent a couple of years there, like really like risk averse. And it was just like very exhausting to people.
I think that's the thing with New Japan, because it's all about tradition, isn't it? And like Ibushi and Shingo didn't come through the dojo, so they've been given the world title, haven't they? But they're never going to be the main man, and that's how Okada is. He's the main one now to follow on from Tanahashi, and I think he's got Tanahashi will move now. I think after the G1 into the Nagata role, into the Kojima role of. Like the dad, New Japan dads, they call him. He's like on a tag match at the start with a couple of the young lions.
Yes.
And he can do that and then have his big match every so often, seems to be
where.
Because he's about than Kojima.
It's true. He's about to enter the uncle zone, I think, which is kind of the bit before you become the dad. And I think Jay they did have faith in Jay for a while. Then the pandemic happened, and that's why they've circled back to this a lot more traditional stuff. I think it's caused them a panic. But do we want to skip ahead to this match?
No, we will come to that. Like, I was just popping this up so that they knew that it wasn't ignoring comments. We will come to that in a bit.
We will come to that. I haven't been following the Discord the closest, especially this weekend, because I've been out and about on vacation, so I don't know what the reference was there, but we will get to that.
I have been spending far too much time on Destiny to be on Discord.
All right, should we move on to the next match, which was CM Punk versus Satoshi Kojima?
I fucking love the crowd's reaction to this. This gave me absolute life.
Great.
The crowd reaction to this was very interesting. I have never seen a group of people more loudly into Satoshi Kojima in a very long time.
We were like, I think this could be the height of his like face.
In fairness, Kojima's not seen that many people into Kojima for a long, long time.
He said as much on Twitter, didn't he? He was like, I've got lots of new fans.
Yeah. He's great.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
I mean, I heard he accidentally hit Punk in the cock, so like, you know.
I know. It's like CM Punk's big return couple of weeks, and the biggest thing that's happened to him is he got elbowed in the dick.
Yeah.
So good.
It's a strong tweet that Kojima put out, which was that I did an elbow drop on his cock, which is just
incredible.
an incredible phrase. Yeah, really fascinating.
Actually, Kojima is a sleeper hit of a tweet follow. I gotta say, he's got some good ones.
He's got some great stuff.
He's got some great bits.
That should be his new finisher, Connor.
Oh yeah, for sure. Elbow cock drop.
Stunning.
100%.
This match, I think, very interesting. I kind of like. It's like the right word. I don't know. I'm fascinated to watch how people feel about Punk right now, and what he does in the ring, and how he responds to it. And
I thought that he did what he can only do, and he manipulated that crowd and worked really well on it. Like,
yeah,
sure.
Say what you want about him, but there's very few people that get reactions like CM Punk does, and he knows how to work that when he gets a reaction. Like,
I will say what I want about CM Punk. It was interesting to me because I feel the sense that I got in the crowd, before the cameras rolled. Alex, I told you about this earlier. Before the cameras rolled, a couple of people started trying some CM Punk chants, and the rest of the building booed them into silence. And I think that a lot of the boos that were in the building at the time were specifically to drown out the cheers. Like that was the sense that I got. Is like we don't co-sign, because like CM Punk is always going to have his super fans, right? Like that's just inevitable, and that's fine, whatever. But it did feel a little bit like the crowd being like, we don't co-sign this, actually. And yeah, he got a reaction. Is that a reaction that people are going to pay to continue to give him?
No, that sort of controversy reaction has a shelf life. And I think that we're going to see that in the Collision ratings over the next 2 months. I don't is it the ratings dropped like 40% or something like that week on week?
That was a big change. Yeah.
Apparently. I know it's a Saturday. I know it's a Saturday night, but like it was still like a rough drop.
It's like the train spotting element of this is going to plummet, right? Yes. Because it's either going to get boring or tiresome, or both. So
it has become boring and tiresome.
It has become quite tiresome.
We have to cash in on the fact if he's a heel and really feel it and go with it, rather than just playing with the crowd each week, which is fun for now. But what I really want to see is if Punk's going to be a heel, I want to see Punk be a heel.
I mean, he cut a heel promo when he returned. Like, it was
it started for sure.
It was definitely leaning towards the crowd that he had at the time, but when he was definitely not a face when he come back. Like,
I don't think it was a heel or a face promo. I think it was a promo specifically for his fans who are very loud on wrestling internet. It's not heel or a face, it's key jangling. Which, whatever. I do it is really interesting to me to kind of like see this response to his reaction, because like I'm seeing a lot of parallels to, interestingly enough, the Cody situation. Because like at the time there were a lot of people who were like, Cody's definitely turning heel, he's definitely turning heel. And I was kind of looking at it and I was like, I don't like, that's not, there were all of these takes, like what was happening with Cody was some 4D chess master plan, because Cody is just so very smart at wrestling. And the way that I saw it is that Cody is very smart about certain things in wrestling, but that situation was not a 4D chess master plan. That situation got away from Cody, and he was trying to make it work, and it wasn't working, and it continued to not work until he left.
Yeah, he was sniffing his own fumes, wasn't he, a little bit?
And I'm getting that energy from Punk right now. I'm getting that energy because, like, when you look at like the opponents, and then you look at like how he's acting, I'm not getting the sense that he is trying to be a wrestling heel, right? Yeah. Like, he's not doing a heel turn. He's just doing him and expecting that to eventually work the way that he wants it to. But I think the big difference between the Cody situation and what's going on with Punk right now is that the Cody situation was never personal. The Cody situation was, people were tired of his booking. People were tired of him winning all the time. People were tired of how sort of samey his like whole narratives were going, such as they were. And then it became a funny meme. The stuff with Punk is personal. Like, the people who don't like Punk, it's like they don't like Philip, right? Like, it's not to do with a storyline. It's not to do with creative. It's not to do with any of his actions on TV, in the ring. I'm really sick and tired of Philip Brooks. And I don't think that compels people personally.
That's what I was saying to you the other day as well. Like, yeah. I didn't think that he was receiving heel heat at Forbidden Door. That was fuck off heat, and it wasn't for his character. It was, we don't want you here. Like, yeah. It was actually like, I haven't seen that for a while, like a really long time.
Can I give the other perspective here? Because I sure. Because maybe it's just because I'm not I like Kenny Omega's great. Hangman Page is great. The Young Bucks are there. And like the Elite are all right. Yeah, I have nothing against the Elite as like a concept, but I just think this is great because it's so different from like anything that's going on at the minute with CM Punk. Because I mean, I know he's not done like a big heel turn, but the promo at Collision, the first Collision, he did like the pandering to Chicago, but that was a heel promo after that. Just because he's going to get, he could turn up, say hello, and sit on the floor, and he'd get cheered in Chicago, right? But he could. So, but I still think that was a heel promo. And then this match, he wrestled as a heel against Kojima. He used Tenzan's moves, which like Kojima's tag team partner.
He even did a little scream for a few of them.
Fantastic. He did like the Mongolian chops and the Anaconda Vice as well. And it's all, it's just great heel work for me. And it's like, I saw the Grapple podcast, they said it was, compared it to Bret Hart in 1997 when it was, he's a face in Chicago, face in Canada, and a heel everywhere else. And that's the way I see it with CM Punk at the minute, is that he'll get booed everywhere and cheered in Chicago. And
CMFTR will be having a massive circle jerk about that. They fucking love Bret Hart.
God.
Yeah, they love that.
My problem with that is that, like, I am personally extremely not enjoying that energy. It's not compelling to me. It's actually really frustrating. It's actually sometimes it's even a little bit upsetting. But it's also just not any of the stuff that I find compelling about wrestling, which is fine. Wrestling is a variety show, but it's also disrupting the things that I do care about. Because you may think that the Young Bucks are just there, but they're actually my absolute top favorites.
And like, I think that's the same.
And the
I think that's the same for a lot of people that watch AEW, though. Like,
I'm not saying
very far off target, but off topic here.
I just want to talk about.
I think if the Elite was forced out of AEW, like, AEW would be in trouble viewership-wise.
But they can coexist because they're on different shows. I mean, I was surprised Punk was on Dynamite, but I guess it made sense for like the pay-per-view being next on the weekend. But I think they can coexist on being on the different shows. Like Punk's got Collision, everyone else, like the Elite and everything's got Dynamite. And I think it would. I mean, I just want to see him all in. That's my main. Like, he came back. I'm like, I'm going to see CM Punk live. That's great.
You know what? I can respect that.
Sort of thing.
I can respect that. I think the thing for me is just that if it stays in its corner, you know what I mean? Like, if that can be over there, like, that's fine. If it continues to disrupt the things that I actually come to AEW for, like, I'm not going to enjoy it. I'm not going to enjoy, you know, the real life aspect of it. I'm not going to enjoy the real life conflict because, like, I am a soft baby and I don't like real life conflict. I like fake conflict only.
Yeah, well, supposedly the reports are that everyone is chill backstage. It's all good.
Just wait while Speaking comes back.
Speaking of things that I don't like, Orange Cassidy defending his belt.
I am upset on all sides.
I really in my brain I was like, this could be it for Danny G. I really think this might be his moment. Stupid. The match, he was like the clown of this match, which also I love about Danny G. But I was like, what was I thinking that this would go any other way? Wow, what fool I was to think Orange Cassidy would lose. Now I just want to say I'm not an Orange Cassidy hater, like two people on this live stream.
Me and you, Alex. Me and you.
And Connor.
Should we do the thumbs up? Should we reclaim the thumbs up?
Taking it back.
To the corner. I don't know what I was thinking that he would not retain the belt. I don't know why I thought that. It was just never gonna happen.
It's because like it's been done to death, and like Tony Khan seems to think that there's still life in this, but there's not. And when we get to Dynamite tonight, it's almost certainly going to open with Orange Cassidy in the same fucking match that he did last week.
Oh, Corey, I was
Kieran's
so
hacked
sad
Corey on
Shibata
the-
didn't win. Oh, it would have been special.
It would have been a hell of a thing to put that belt on Shibata.
It just is not a something that can be done with longevity. You know, Shibata shouldn't be wrestling every week. You can do road tapings quite safely. There can be a lot of planning put into, you know, there's a reason why Zack and Orange were in this match because they've wrestled before. They're safe. I think it was quite a nice thing for Danny to be put in there with that. You know, I think the moniker of safe to wrestle Shibata is not something that should be taken lightly. I think it's quite a special thing.
Don't give me hope, Liam.
You and Colin and Connor can start your own Discord.
A support group.
A support group for sure, because like I always get joy from Orange Cassidy. I love him, and I loved this match. I thought it was so like fun.
I enjoyed the match a lot.
Yeah,
it was a fantastic match.
It was really fun. It was really fun. It's what you want from these guys, and like, it's also like if you put Zack and Shibata in a ring,
oh my god,
you wanna see them.
Oh my god,
it was the first time my wife had seen Zack Sabre Jr. wrestle, by the way, and she was just cackling watching him. He is such a brilliant dickhead, just mouthing off to everyone.
Maybe from a New Japan perspective, how was this match for you?
I mean, I thought it was quite impressive that Orange Cassidy was the fourth person in a match for his own title. That was quite, but he was. I guess that's a storyline with him being like he won without doing too much towards the end. But I mean, the match was great. It's nice to see Shibata in there with. I mean, even his work with Orange Cassidy is quite nice in like a storyline perspective. But Zack Sabre Jr. is always good with Shibata. Daniel Garcia's great. His dancing's quite impressive, really, isn't it? So that's like his main highlight at the minute. But I really enjoyed it. It was a great match. All four did well, I thought. Even Orange Cassidy on it. All four impressive.
Look at that.
I think that he's a really good wrestler. I am just oversaturated with Orange Cassidy at the moment.
Yeah.
They are all well matched. I really wanted a Orange Cassidy Zack Sabre Jr. singles match. Because I love Orange Cassidy and I love Zack Sabre Jr.
They have history. You know, there's places they can go with that.
But the vibe, I thought that, I actually was, I mean, I knew it was going to be good, but I was actually pleasantly surprised at like how much joy this match gave me.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially that one exchange between Zack and Shibata. That was just like that crazy sequence that they did. Like that was insane. There were so many awesome, insane spots in this match.
Danny trying to get involved and then both kind of pushing him away. It was just perfect. It was just everything you want to do. I do think this is the first truly out of the first two matches. Those are kind of like matches like, oh, that's like, that'll work. That's good. Whatever. I think this is the first thoughtfully pieced together match. There's kind of threads between all of them. It works quite well. I thought this was the first one that wasn't just booked because it's a AEW New Japan crossover show. This one I felt had a reason to be there. Had some feeling behind it.
There was some actual character work. There was some actual like stuff happening.
Tell Colin, don't let us not get his hopes up.
Colin, my man. Give me Zack Sabre Jr. Shibata at Wembley. Oh my god, I would pee myself.
Or at the copper box, that'll do for me.
I want that Zack Sabre Jr. Bryan Danielson match. That's the only Bryan Danielson match I want. Against Zack Sabre Jr.
From Corey here, if it'll let me click on it. I kind of wish we had gotten Samoa Joe versus Zack Sabre Jr. since I felt like the direction on Ring of Honor, but Ring of Honor doesn't seem to be much of a focus right now. I think that's the general vibe of Ring of Honor. There is no focus, really.
I think Corey's the only person that knows that's the storyline in Ring of Honor, though, to be fair.
Yes, yeah. I
was really happy when Ring of Honor got shoved in its little Ring of Honor box and it stopped distracting from AEW TV. It was really nice.
It's a shame. It's a shame because what I've seen of Ring of Honor is actually really, really good and actually has a lot of things that I really like on it.
Yeah.
But I can't do it. Also,
there's too much wrestling.
You can't just you can't just watch the pay-per-views on Honor Club. Like, how do you get to the pay-per-views on Honor? Anyway, that's a whole digression.
Honor Club is a whole different
an entire digression. We don't need to get into it. But yeah.
That, I mean, that would, I think it's quite likely that we wouldn't get this on Forbidden Door, because there's a good chance they can actually follow that through on Ring of Honor. Zack Sabre Jr. is supposedly moving to the US, has been on a lot of Ring of Honor tapings. Yeah, supposedly he's moved. I don't know for sure. Supposedly he's there now.
He has been in the States a lot lately.
Exactly.
Wait, don't have the Punk and Joe trilogy on Honor
I heard about this.
What the fuck?
It's on YouTube, though, apparently.
That might be why. That might be why. Okay. But I think there's a good chance that we will see that through on Ring of Honor. Zack Sabre Jr. seems to be quite the staple there right now. Tony, I think, definitely trying to, have goodwill with a lot of wrestlers he likes from New Japan.
I mean, they could have played the right music for him, couldn't they? If he liked him that much. Do you see him shout on his walk down to ring, play my TMDK music? Was it Dickheads or something? It was quite funny.
Yeah, I didn't clock
his
it.
Music's been changed for months.
Did they play his old?
The one in your head. There's the Zack Sabre Jr. theme, but they changed it when he joined TMDK.
That is funny.
Is that what he was shouting when he came out?
Yeah, he shouted, play my TMDK music, Dickhead, or something like that. Yeah.
Funny, they got the right graphic, but the music
he's so good. He's the best.
Amazing stuff. Well, I suppose that can take us into our next match, our second title of the night, which was Sonata versus Jungle Boy. Something I think it was on no one's bingo card for Forbidden Door. There's
a reason for that.
We discussed, none of us realized Doki was there.
Yeah, he was there.
I thought he was there.
He was ringside.
I just noticed him when he was exiting with Sonata. I was like, where the fuck did he come from?
I didn't notice him that at any time whatsoever. I didn't see him come out with it, because usually when they do the Just Five Guys, they're all there. So when they didn't do Just Five Guys, I was like, oh, it's just Sonata on his own. Maybe I just blanked that Doki wasn't there. I mean, I cannot tell you for a single second where he was, what he was doing.
It might have been a production thing, because he was there. I don't know. I don't know what it looked like on camera.
Did he interact with Hook or anything at all?
No, he didn't do anything interesting, which is part of the problem.
He was hiding from Kevin Kelly, because he didn't even mention it, and he's always talking about Doki. So
yeah. Well,
very weird.
There you go. Jungle Bastard.
Bastard.
So
can I just talk about the match? Sorry, go on. Just before, because obviously the turn's the main thing, isn't it? I mean, it says the match is there for the turn, if we're honest, but the match itself was just very dull, I thought. I mean, nothing happened, but the one good thing about this match is Jungle Boy lost and didn't even use his finisher. Sonata didn't even use his finisher to beat Jungle Boy. It was amazing.
That was crazy.
I wanted to give it 5 stars just for that, to win on a moonsault. He's not won a moonsault for years.
I was like, is this technically like a squash? I don't know.
Very
not
even
the finisher. From what I could tell, I mean, MX, you can verify for this as well. The people love Sonata. The people were cheering for Sonata. From what I could tell from my little couch, was this the truth?
Yeah, people were pretty behind Sonata. I think there's a little Jungle Boy fatigue going on, which I've pontificated about enough at this point. I feel like my friend pointed out, and I think that she was really right about this, which was this was the match that really needed a story to go with it.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't on anybody's list. It was a good match is the thing. I don't think it had to be a boring match. It was a very, very good match. But there's just there was nothing to hook us into it, so to speak. There was nothing to really capture the interest. There was no really storytelling going on. It was just two good wrestlers having a good match.
I enjoyed the match a lot. I don't think it was boring, actually. I do think that Sonata was definitely leading that match. It was a weird one. I don't know what it looked like when you were there, but it seemed like Jungle Boy was like out of position a few times. It was almost like a little bit lost at times, and Sonata was pulling him through it a little bit.
Yeah, they didn't have fabulous chemistry.
Yeah.
You know, Jungle Boy has had some really excellent matches and has had some really good chemistry with other wrestlers. It didn't seem like that quite clicked together with Sonata, which, you know, like that happens. I don't think that's necessarily anybody's fault. But I
suppose contextually, you know, with the heel turn at the end, it's not necessarily like within the grand scheme of it. If we were to be like, oh, deliberately no chemistry, I don't know, but I don't think it. I think it kind of, the lack of chemistry, the kind of squash element to it, the face turn, I think it kind of all comes together to make a perfect kind of little villain origin moment for Jungle Boy.
But like, this match could have been literally any match. Like, there was nothing about this match that lent anything to Jungle Boy's turn.
Yeah, no, I don't think it did either.
Or Jack Perry. Like, it could have been literally any match.
If Hook had thrown it for him or something, like even just a teaspoon of issue would have been good. Are you guys previewing the Dynamite card after the Forbidden Door rundown?
We'll have a little chat about Dynamite.
We will.
How long it takes us to go through the rest.
It's so
go
true.
Back to CM Punk. If we avoid CM Punk, we'll have time.
We'll be good. But I mean, I'm happy
I got triggered.
No, I joined in. It's fine.
I'm happy for Jungle Boy. He needed this. He needed this to move on, to have a reason to have matches, you know.
Okay, but the turn has the same problems as everything else with Jungle Boy.
We can't change it, MX. We just have to move forward and hope that it gets better.
It was a really, really shit heel turn, wasn't it? It was just like, this is the most WWE thing I've seen on AEW for ages.
Threw them together for Pride Month. They gave them a rainbow T-shirt, and now they're done.
Pride Month isn't even over.
Yeah,
this
well,
is
to
the
them
weekend of Toronto Pride.
To them, like June ends once they get Forbidden Door. That's AEW management brain for sure. This is how they map their calendar. Yeah,
I just it's just like it just. All of the things that are wrong with Jungle Boy right now are repeated in this turn. There's no story. There's no connection. He has no connection to Hook. He has no connection to
What are you talking about? He's his best friend.
For 5 minutes?
You don't understand the connection that they had. They're brothers.
It's a beautiful 5 minutes, okay? It was intense. You weren't there. God. You wouldn't understand.
This is the thing that happens when the Young Bucks are your favorite tag team, because tag teams get together for like 10 minutes. Yeah. And then they have like this massive like breakup scene, and I'm supposed to be invested in this.
Yeah.
They've been together for 5 minutes. Like, how am I supposed to be invested in this?
Well,
like
a good transition.
This match happened. This is the conclusion of that one.
The next match involved your favorites.
Before, I thought it's worth mentioning from like a New Japan perspective.
Yeah.
Of just being like the fact that I know it's like the position of the card of like the wrestlers in the match sort of thing, but the fact that the IWGP World Heavyweight Title match was used for a turn against Hook.
It is a little disgusting. It is a little disgusting.
A part of me died a little bit when after it was all just used just for Jungle Boy to turn heel, and I was like,
yeah,
really. I mean,
yeah,
my favorite part was Taz on commentary. That was the best part of the little turn, I thought. But I was making a drink when the turn happened because I was like, well, the match is finished. I'll make a drink. And I came back, I was like, what's happened? That was so that from my New Japan perspective there.
No, I agree 100% with that. That's really insulting, both to Sonata and the championship itself. I feel like
that's the perfect comparison.
Is as good as Y2 AJ, if anyone remembers that. I don't.
Oh my
God. I think there's a reason we don't remember Y2 AJ.
Yeah,
there were a lot of Y2 combinations.
There were a lot of Y2 that was the good one.
That was a good one. That was the Festival of Friendship. That was some top tier shit. Now we're really diverting. Okay, the next match that we have is our 10-man tag team match. The Elite versus Blackpool Combat Club. Not forgetting the Tomohiro Ishii in the elite side with the Young Bucks and Hangman. And on the Blackpool Comeback side, you've got Shota Umino. Oh shit, yeah, and Eddie Kingston. I'm sorry, I was respecting my New Japan brain too much. And then the Blackpool Combat Club side, we had Takeshita, we had Shota as well, leading up that team. Fun ass match. Cool ass match. Ishii Takeshita.
Yeah. Mox Eddie. Let's run that back.
Oh, okay.
Let's
so Jamie,
run that back, huh?
Jamie, you saw the promo the week before. Very, very tense between Eddie and Mox. And then this match and everything that's happened. Oh, hi, Kieran. Libby Hazel says she loves your voice. You're so well spoken.
Aww.
Stop, Hazel. Too nice. Sorry, Jamie. I'm asking you a question, and that was a very nice compliment.
I want to know what's wrong with the Yorkshire accent, Hazel.
Wait till my accent slips and I go really northern. You might feel differently. But Jamie, so you kind of know the drama between Eddie and Mox. What was it like watching the match for you, from your perspective, of seeing how they interacted?
Yeah, I thought it was great. I mean, I've seen the Eddie Kingston and John Moxley storyline and everything like that, and I love both of them. They're both great, and like the match as a whole, it was just so much fun. I mean, my takeaway was Takeshita and Ishii, that their strike exchange. I was just going mental. It's Takeshita and Tomohiro Ishii having a strike exchange. It was just, I can't believe it.
That was a really small thing that Ishii did for Takeshita, by the way, but also a massive thing, because when he knocked him on his ass, the reputation that Ishii has, that immediately put Takeshita over as an actual force,
a monster. Yeah.
I think it was really smart as well in terms of the AEW audiences love Ishii. Oh my god. Man is so over in AEW. Like you hear the woo of his music and people are like, yeah. And putting him against Takeshita, even just from two big boys going at it, which we all just love to see. You can quote me on that. They put him against someone. They put him against someone who not from AEW, but is that over. It just puts Takeshita in that position to really pull from his bag of tricks to really turn it up, and it was so good. Connor, can we talk about that one elbow strike that killed Ishii? Is insane. He just fucking
my mate messaged me not that long ago. He was watching Forbidden Door and he was like, did Ishii get knocked out? I was like, wow. It was such a good sell. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was really
also the Young Bucks added a lot to that as well by just checking to see if he was okay. It was weird. That was the Mox and Eddie stuff was amazing, but that was a fucking great spot.
Mm-hmm. It was really memorable. I was the most compelled by the Mox and Eddie situation. I have to say.
For sure.
Just because I've loved them so much. Anyone who takes down Ishii is going to yeah, for sure. And who better than Takeshita, to be honest, to have that honor. He's just out of this world. But yeah, it was a really interesting dynamic with Mox and Eddie though, because I love that I don't want to fight you sort of situation, and then there's just it feels a lot of times that kind of situation can be really contrived in wrestling, but this doesn't feel contrived. Eddie has been swallowing Mox hanging around with the people that he hates most in the world for a really, 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 really long time.
Yeah.
And I liked bringing back that history with the Young Bucks, because I loved the Young Bucks and Mox and Eddie feud so much with the shoes.
Yeah, and the betrayal,
the betrayal. Yeah,
it's very good.
Yeah, and so just the layers of complexity in those interactions, and it's just can we run that back? Surely we can run that back.
How do we feel? I mean, coming off this, Eddie is about to do the G1. His first time. Very, very exciting. He's sort of coming out of this very frustrated. Jamie, if you only watched New Japan and you saw this match, you watched Forbidden Door and you saw Eddie, what do you think the takeaway would be for a New Japan fan knowing that he's coming into the G1?
I guess people who don't know Eddie Kingston, I think that's probably like the perfect representation of what he is, isn't he? Because he's, I mean, wrestling's a work, but he's so legit. I mean, we know it's like he just seems real, doesn't he? Like more than anyone else I've seen in wrestling. He just like all his character work. He just seems like he's genuinely pissed off that his best mate is hanging around with people he doesn't like, and it's like it just seems so like, legitimate in a way. And it's that. I mean, if that's the introduction for some people to Eddie Kingston, I know he's done stuff in like New Japan Strong and everything like that. But if that's the first people have seen, then you're going to get a good representation of who he is and what to expect in the G1. Because I mean, in this match, like he, as well as the bit like the drama, he wrestled really physically, and this match was very physical. Yeah. And that you don't get that often in a 10-man tag. If it's just a bit, it's like a hit and then tag out sort of thing. But they was proper physical and like gnarly in this match. I thought with Eddie Kingston in particular.
Yeah, for sure. I just want to highlight a quote from Kieran, supposedly from Hazel. The only thing Yorkshire knows how to do is make a nice cup of tea.
And we do make a very good cup of tea, to be fair.
It's a strong cup of tea.
We can play cricket as well. We got that going for us. That's better.
Cricket and tea. It's very British situation for you. Yeah, I think this match was really fun. It was really good. I think it's a nice thing to follow from that title match, which was good, but kind of felt a little weird.
It really lit up the place. I thought this match. It really got the crowd back going.
The energy was good.
I just liked the anime thing that they had going on where they were slapping the shit out of each other whilst everything was going on around them and they just were not distracted. And it was just like the perfect thing.
No, it was a very well produced match. You know,
it was.
I think they've spoken about before. You know, Christopher Daniels produces a lot of the elite stuff, and a lot of people respond really well to how they manage interacting with a lot of people ringside. And I think they absolutely took it home for this one.
And you know, the elite produce the elite matches too. Like it's definitely they definitely have input. But yeah, they're so good. That's one huge thing about the elite is that they're so good at multi-man tags, and they're so good at like everybody having a time to shine in the way that they shine and in pacing. So it was just, oh God, I just looked at the time. That was 20 minutes. It did not feel 20 minutes when I was watching it, I gotta say.
Wow.
Gotta tell you.
Longer or shorter?
Huh?
Did it feel longer than that? Or
much shorter. It felt much shorter than that.
A lot happened in that time.
A lot. Well, it always does, doesn't it? But yeah, no, it was a fabulous match. It was definitely well needed for me at this point in the card.
Yeah, I really liked it. Wow, I thought it was it was definitely an energy rebuilder. It was good.
Yeah,
it was an interesting match to follow this one, which was the women's title match.
The energy sapper.
Which was
that's harsh.
I'm sorry. They were set up for it. It was an open goal.
They have one women's match per pay-per-view card, and they always put it after the elite matches. I don't understand.
It's a really tough spot. I'm not sure if it's a kind of they're like, oh, it's going to be a really good match. What should we put after it in terms of they're just like, oh, we don't really care about this one, or this is a cooler match, or it's just not thinking enough. I don't know, but
I think it's a Tony Khan's a dickhead thing.
Yeah,
I don't think that like it happens too. It doesn't just happen on pay-per-views. It happens on Dynamite. Every single time there is a big segment, the thing that follows it is the women's match, or when there is a really big main event coming up, the thing that precedes it is the women's match. Like, this isn't a pay-per-view thing. Like, Tony Khan books the women into spots that feel like they're set up for failure.
Yeah.
I mean, that
he did
was
it again.
Frustrating.
I saw a lot of people talking on Twitter afterwards, or other people noting. There was like, oh, Toni Storm, she was like wearing some like Stardom gear. She was doing callbacks to Stardom and things. And I was just like, wow, I really wish someone had mentioned that on commentary, because that's important. And I suppose if you're a New Japan fan, you're not necessarily a Stardom fan. Always there is now more crossover going on, and that it is likely, but it's just like, I really wish they could have used that. I think if you didn't know Toni Storm was, really came to some of her best work, her best self in Stardom, you just wouldn't know. You just don't know, and you wouldn't know the connection as to why this match works on Forbidden Door, other than Willow's the strong champion. It kind of just felt like a little bit more feeling in there would have been good. Liam, I hate that 9 times out of 10 TK sees the woman as a cool down, and it sucks. It's so true. It's so
true. And it's like, Willow is really awesome and Toni is really awesome.
Yeah.
Like,
and they had a really fucking good match.
They had a really good match, but the crowd was dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, and I was really invested in it because like I love these two so much, and I was actually really looking forward to this match. But like the spot on the card like really communicates things to people, right? And it's like, it's a couple, we're a couple of matches in. We just had a really high energy match, so like everybody is like kind of taking a breather, and they're doing it during this match. And I think that that's really unjust, and I think that there are other matches on this card that are much more worthy of being in a cool down spot.
Sonata versus Jungle Boy.
I mean, do we need to continue to give insult to the IWGP Heavyweight Championship?
We all roasted it when it was first revealed. It's in its little goddamn Megatron body. Anyway,
it looks good on Sonata, to be fair.
It looks fabulous. It looks good on. It was just funny to see it as a single item. It looked like a children's toy. Anyway, what I am interested in, what people might have thought a match would be if Mercedes Moné was able to wrestle. What do we think a possible match could have been for Mercedes Moné at Forbidden Door?
I can't see the match being any different, because I thought they didn't do anything specific to Willow Nightingale. They had the interference of the Outcasts, and then Willow Nightingale had the nice comeback. I just think it would have been treated better if it was Mercedes Moné.
It would have been on a better spot of the card, because if Mercedes Moné was on this card, she would have been the biggest star on it.
Yeah.
Like, and actually would have been the reason that a lot of people bought the pay-per-view. Like, it's not doing a disservice to anybody that was on the card, but she is an actual star. Like, huge.
She's been treated like a star, right?
Yeah.
She'd be the biggest star in the women's division of NAW, because they just don't present the women's division well, like you've been saying there. I think
they also, like, Tony Khan does this thing that really pisses me off. Every single time he does something really well with the women, it's used in every single one of his like media calls to be like, oh no, but remember the time that Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa main evented Dynamite? We do have good representation. It's like, no, you don't, you prick. You give them 8 minutes every week.
That's like a year and a half ago now. What is maybe more?
Yeah, it's really frustrating, because it feels like 2 steps forward, 2 steps back with the women's division, right? Like, we've had some stuff that's like really cool. I've really enjoyed the Outcasts. We've had moments, like flashes of like interesting character and interesting storyline, but it's like you can't do that with 8 minutes a week. Like, you can't sustain it. And like,
Colin with a great take there. I'm looking forward to Willow versus Julia on the 4th, by the way. It's so true. I think we all know the outcome of this match, but I am really excited to see Willow in a ring with Julia. Like,
Julia has been on absolute fire.
Yeah.
Like,
so good.
Just another thing about the Forbidden Door. People always ask if Stardom is going to be involved. Would you want, as Stardom's owner, people to be involved with AEW with the way that the women's division are treated? Like, would you want to bring like a Tamihashi Shita or Shuri over and have them put on the fucking cooldown spot. Like,
no,
because when they're put on New Japan shows, they're treated as big deals, and especially when it was Mercedes Moné in there, that those matches were built very well, were seen up there with the big New Japan title matches, and you translate that over to AEW, it doesn't.
It's not been perfect with women's matches in New Japan. There's been some very short women's matches over in New Japan, and it's been like,
a little bit.
But it's definitely got better for sure.
Also, they have a women's commentator. AEW have 3 fucking commentating teams, and they have 0
women.
They had it just doesn't do any commentary. Renee, is it Paquette?
Yeah. She did do commentary in WWE. That was one of her things. Maybe she's not interested in doing it anymore. But
I thought she didn't like doing commentary.
What's her name? Vader Scott, Mike Bailey's.
All right,
she's amazing on commentary.
Sorry, I was on a media call when someone suggested hiring Vader Scott to him, and he backtracked at the speed of fucking light. Like,
he's a great commentator.
He seemed to really. He didn't know what to do. Like, someone was like, "Are you ever going to get a women's commentator?" And I think that was the question, basically verbatim. And he was like, "Well, and she was like, "What about Vader Scott?" And then he had to go on like this 10-minute monologue about how great Vader Scott is, but ultimately
you're not going to hire her. You're not going to put her on her commentary.
They are very
do anything.
Strange
Scott
situations.
Is excellent. She's an excellent commentator. They had her on one time during that really weak sop to the people who are crowing about the women's division, like that tag team tournament, the women's tag team tournament. Remember? They had her on like once and then like never brought her back. But she's so good. She's better than a lot of like some of the other commentators they have on regular rotation, not naming any names. It's so he plainly doesn't care. He plainly does not care, and will wiggle his way out of any criticism. And like that's the state of things.
Yeah. Justice for the women's division is basically.
Yeah, I think from like my perspective, just being that Willow Nightingale's someone who's grown on me a lot. I've seen her a few times in AEW before she came over to New Japan, and I was a little bit like, but she like wasn't given any like big room to like show herself off in that way.
Right.
And then when she did a match with Mercedes Moné, I was like, I sort of understand where it's coming from now, and I'm on board now. I'm like joined the Willow Nightingale train. Quite late, but I'm on the Willow Nightingale train now. But this match for me was just like there was just no, I had no reason to care. I mean, like you'd said, it was after a big match and before a big match, and there was no real story. Like for me, the like interference with the Outcast doesn't set my world on fire. But when we get to All In, I know it's just going to be Saraya versus somebody, isn't it? Just because it's in Britain, and that I don't know if I can energize myself.
Versus Jamie, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, and I really like Jamie Hayter. Jamie Hayter is great. It's a shame she's injured.
Fantastic. Yeah.
But I just thought there was no real effort to make the match special. And Willow Nightingale was great, and it's a shame really that I just didn't see anything worthwhile in it.
I liked the match. I thought it was good.
It was good. It was good.
It was a good match, but it's hard to. I mean, like it's hard to.
It's not the women's fault that
right.
It's not good. They did a great job. The things around it
they're not getting the support that they need. Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
And that's true.
And if it is, New Japan style, it's not necessarily all about the context, but the bell to bell delivers something really, really special. Mm-hmm. Then, let that be. But that means you have to let the women have matches to do that, to get to that point. So
let's not get crazy.
Let's slow your roll, guys.
Crazy. They may end up getting over.
So good. Tony needs to get his shit together and pick her up before someone else does, because it will happen. Yep, it's so true. She's booked and busy as well, so
Yeah,
all the WrestleMania weekend shows, all like the 5,000 GCW shows. She was just great on them. She's just such a great commentator, and that weekend in particular.
She's got so much personality.
The other day.
Yeah.
Sorry, Karen.
Oh, I was just saying she has so much personality, like the way that she presents things. Like she's almost like Excalibur in the way that she's like really good at weaving together like the facts that are happening in a match, like as well as
Very
adding
engaging.
like color. Yeah, engaging. Yeah, that's a really good one. I would love to have her and Excalibur on the same booth together. I think that would be.
If they can find a spot for JR, they can find one for Veda. Like,
right? I said I wasn't naming names, Alex.
The spot for JR is an armchair in the backstage area, I think.
I absolutely roasted him on the first episode of Collision, and I didn't know he'd been in an accident, and I found out after we recorded Into the Wrestleverse, and I was like, I'm a horrible person. Oh my, what have I done? I was like, JR shut up and gurgled his way through the main event, and I was like, the brother's got like half his face is like scabbed up. He'd been in a really bad accident. So this is just me putting it out there. If you listened to Into the Wrestleverse and you thought, wow, Libby, bit much, you are correct. I completely agree. It was a lot. And I was so wrong and ignorant. And I really hope he's okay. I really do. I just want to put that out there. I feel like this is a good time to bring it round. You know, so I'm gonna cool down on the JR kind of criticism because I really
don't worry, I'll pick it back up for you.
Thank you. I've really done my quota for the year in that way. So I just leave that to everyone else. I've done my work here.
But the next match that followed was one of the best matches that I have ever seen.
Oh my God. I was in the crowd for this. I saw this live. Holy shit. Holy shit, this match.
What, as being there live, what were the main takeaways for you for this very, very, very special match?
They're just so good. They're just so good. Like it one of the things about Kenny Omega, right, is that you see a match of his that's like, that's the best match I've ever seen in my life. And you're like, he can't possibly follow that up. And then he fucking does. I don't understand how that's possible. It was one of those things where, you know, part of it is that it's good because their reputation precedes them, right? Because they always start these matches out like kind of slow. They get you settled in, and I'm like settled in. I'm like, let's go. Like I'm waiting to be taken for a ride. And then before you know it, like you are just sucked in, and it's pure emotion. It's like you're just, there is nothing else in the world besides what is going on in the ring. Like it was incredible. It was absolutely incredible.
It was just captivating, like from the moment when they were circling each other to the finish. Like my eyes were glued to the screen. I don't know, man, that match was 40 minutes long and it was captivating the entire time. Like that's a special talent.
I had no idea how long it is. It's the same thing with their match at Wrestle Kingdom. I can't tell you how long it is. Doesn't matter. Time stopped. You know, there is just something so magical about these two, and the way that Will Ospreay has grown, I think, in the last couple of years, especially in the last year, has been amazing. Like this rivalry between them, I don't think could come at a better time. And I think there's a lot of people out there who don't like Will Ospreay. And I think that this stuff is just the proof he's maybe not the Will Ospreay you thought he was. You know, he's changed. People change. People grow and change.
I will tell you the moment where I decided that I like Will Ospreay now.
Yeah.
Because I have been a huge Will Ospreay detractor for a very long time. I wasn't a fan for a while. I have been constantly talking shit about Will Ospreay. Like I will admit it. The moment, and like this isn't like the thing that turned me. It's just like the capstone on like a million and one different things. Like I remember they were before the match they were showing like clips of their match in on January 4th in Wrestle Kingdom, and I was like watching it and I was like, damn, that match was really good though, wasn't it? And then we had like this whole match and it was like going nuts. It was going crazy. And then there's the point where he has the blood on his arm and he is eating up that camera, right? He is just eating it up and then like slowly like licks the blood off his arm because wrestlers are disgusting.
They are.
Turns to the camera.
Real.
Turns to the camera and goes, yum. And I'm like, well, that's it. I like Will Ospreay now.
I mean, people have faulted him for his intelligence or whatever for however long.
Or lack thereof.
Yeah, and I don't think they've been from. They've not been totally wrong, but my God, they're wrong now. Like he's always had amazing ring awareness and amazing skill, and charisma, and it just feels like they have pieced together beautifully now. Is MX a secret vampire? MX, is there anything you would like to share with this?
Why?
Group?
Just because I really like blood in wrestling matches.
We work this out.
Make me a vampire.
We have bloodlust. We work this out. We watched CM Punk MJF, and me and MX were like, this is the best match I've ever seen. When the dog collar match happened.
What was it they said behind us? We got a couple of real psychopaths over here.
Because we were there like rubbing our hands. It was like we unlocked something in us. We were like, wow, we really like violence. And that is something about this Will and Kenny match is that it is just the perfect level of violence. Like it is just so good. Like there is needless violence. I won't dispute that, whatever. But
sure, I've seen it.
When it's this palpable and this tense and this raw, it is just so good to watch. It adds so much. It's like violent films, you know, when they're done really well. It is just like you cannot look away. It has that cinematic quality to him. MX, are you a fan of death matches?
I don't know. Am I? Yes. No. I mean, I am a vocal fan of death matches.
Yes. Yeah. For
That's
sure.
a can of worms.
Yeah, that's a whole another tangent.
Listen to On the Indies where we talk about all of the death matches that we like.
Good plug. Very good.
It's a very good plug. And a very good podcast. Everybody should listen to it.
Oh, thank you so much.
Jamie, from your perspective, how was it for you? Obviously, you watch a lot more Will than you do of Kenny. Yes. So, how did it feel seeing your boy get the belt back?
Well, I think for me it's more of a thankfulness that we're going to get some US title matches again, because Kenny won the title on January 4th, and before this match defended it once, and that was against Jeff Cobb on a Dynamite. Right? So he's not wrestled in New Japan since January 4th, and he's had a title that he's not been wearing neither. But so I'm kind of happy that we're going to get the New Japan titles back in New Japan for the. Something, but the match itself, it's the second best match they've done. But for me,
I'm also in the camp of that first match is just better for me.
When I give that first match, that's my match of the year, their first match, and this is probably like fourth or fifth. But because I do I keep a list through the year to make it easier when I get to December. But I think it's still phenomenal. It's almost perfect for me anyway, because it's. The stuff for me, it's the Don Callis interference. It gets to a point where I'm a bit like, can they just wrestle now, please? Because I'm not going to take away. I've given a match, because I do lots of star ratings. I've rated it 4.75 out of 5, and I'm still going to complain that there was a bit too much. But that's the point 2.5 or whatever. But yeah, it was just a little bit too much for me with like the Don Callis coming in and coming back was a bit. But
it was I'm kind of glad. I think.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad that wasn't the finish, because when he came back and used a screwdriver, I thought, oh God, they're just going to do like a shit finish. But they just carried on for another 5-10 minutes, did some great kickouts in that closing sequence. with the one-week Angel that Kenny kicked out of, and the Hidden Blade and the Stormbreaker.
That brought the arena to fucking life, by the way.
That was very.
I was. I think I woke my family up upstairs, being like, "I just kicked that something." But they were like, the foot on the rope was the only thing I'd mention, as well as like we'd mentioned the blood before. That's phenomenal. But
Colin
the little,
the
little foot on the rope from Kenny. That's the best one of those I've ever seen.
I will touch on this. I am really, really glad that there was a tag match between this match and the main event, because it took me the entirety of that match to get back into the pay-per-view. That Tiger Driver 91 is one of the worst things that I have ever seen live.
It scared a year off of my life. It was horrifying.
I paused it and asked my wife to Google to see if Kenny Omega was all right, because I genuinely thought I'd just seen somebody have their neck broken. That was bad.
It was really terrifying.
I think it's a good debate to have around wrestling, and also I think there's a lot of there was discussions. Well, I do not watch the media scrums afterwards. I think they're cursed situations. I'm so sorry if you go to one of these events. No one brought muffins. I'm so sorry if you go to these events.
Punk, it was fun.
And your friends go to the media because you are there for hours and hours afterwards. But it's an interesting thing to talk about, I think, in terms of what wrestlers should do, even if they think it's safe. We have to trust that Kenny and Will are absolutely fine to do this. We have to trust that Kenny was absolutely fine to be in this position and that this could happen. Conversations about what people should do or shouldn't do, who should have those conversations, how they go, and also looking at the images afterwards. Kind of, mostly dropped on his shoulder.
That's what I was going to say, because he landed on his shoulder. But it looks worse in the moment just because it looks like he's been dropped on his head, but he's worked it well and landed on his shoulder. I don't know, maybe I'm just a little cold-hearted in a way that it's like they're the ones wrestling. If they want to get dropped on the head, then all right. It's not I can't make that decision for them and that sort of thing. But it looks worse than it was, that one.
That's what Danielson said in the media scrum. He was they need to make that call for themselves, whether that's something that they want to do for their art. And I think he touched on it a little bit when I don't think he really wanted to commit to it when he said, "Did it make the match better?" And honestly, it didn't. It didn't need to be there. The match, I think Jamie clearly had an easier time with it than I did, but it took me out of the finish, and I was just more relieved that it wasn't an audible that led to its finish, because you can see, obviously he did take some of the impact on his shoulder, and that is what stopped him from not breaking his neck. But he did take some of the weight. He did take a lot of his body weight on his neck, because
it was shocking to watch. For sure.
It was really, really bad. And I'm not saying that wrestlers should have moves banned or whatever like that, but this move should not be happening 40 minutes into a match, because they didn't look in control of that. I don't know if I'm doing them a disservice or not by saying that. I'm not a wrestler, but it didn't feel, because it felt like he was almost dropping before he went to, drop him. He didn't look fully in control, and that's why I was scared when I watched it. But I don't know. What was the reception like in the arena, MX?
There was definitely a chilling effect, I feel like, from that landing, from that bump, because people get concerned, right? And to the point of asking if it added to the match, I'm going to agree with you that it didn't. I think we could have done a different move in that moment that wasn't so terrifying. I will say also that I'm wary of an element of concern trolling that happens that when we get spots like this, because people really do seem to come out of the woodwork to
suddenly so concerned.
They're suddenly so concerned about Kenny Omega's safety, right?
So Jim Cornette, I see.
Do you know what's been a bit scary is there were Jim Cornette signs at Forbidden Door, and I've noticed the last couple of weeks on Dynamite and Collision there has been Jim Cornette signs front and center.
Has he been championing CM Punk by any chance?
I can't imagine what would be encouraging them. But
why are you here? This show isn't for you. Like, I understand why Cornette signs go.
The thing is, right, is that bump was very scary, and there are spots in wrestling that I hate. I hate when they bring the doctors out. Like, I hate when they do the is it a real injury sort of thing. Like, I hate it. I've talked about it before, whatever. But I will also say that I can't watch wrestling unless I trust the wrestlers to know their limits.
Yeah.
And I worry about Kenny because, like, he has spent so much of his career going so hard, and he's been very vocal about how hard that is on him. So, like, I worry on that level, but, like, I can't watch this without trusting the wrestlers because, like, otherwise, like, I'll anxiety myself to death.
Yeah. Oh, you simply have to, like, otherwise you can never enjoy wrestling. And you have that, they are professionals. Like, you have to be like, okay, these are decisions that they make. And I do think poor decisions have been made in terms of wrestlers who, you know, Kenny, I feel so bad that he wrestled for so long in so much pain. When Cody tore his fucking arm and went in the cage, like, that match went well, but what kind of precedent does that set? You know, should we be continuing the cycle of, well, you just keep wrestling. You're a wrestler. Never stop. Keep fight through the pain. This is how people get hurt. This is how you hurt yourself. This is how you have to take a year out, or this is how your career can end early. I am not a professional wrestler. I can't really know that, and I will never truly know that. I won't pretend to. But I do think it's an ethical question that can be applied. Colin, I hate the apron spot. Ibushi's favorite move.
Ibushi versus his neck.
Ibushi Naito match. I do think as well that in terms of people, Dave being like, I won't rate that one, was like, well,
I think that's fucking fair enough. That was an atrocious match.
It was, but he's rated other things where people are super injured. It's kind of like, well, pick a lane.
but it's also like, I do like to Danielson's point. It's like he broke his arm on, like, what, a lariat spot or like a dive spot or whatever, like a routine spot. Like, so many of, like, the grisliest injuries come from, like, the most routine spots, like poor Dante Martin and Phoenix.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And it's like, I mean, not that, like, routine, like, those were, like, pretty intense, but, you know, routine for them.
It happens in routine, like draws with D'Lo Brown. Like, it does happen with moves that people do hundreds of times a week. Right? So, like MJF wrote on Twitter a few weeks ago, everything that we do is dangerous, and everything hurts. Like,
interesting comment from Liam here. With all this being said, I would like to see Ospreay use a safer version of the Tiger Driver as his new finisher, since he can't do the Stormbreaker safely anymore, like an over rotation. I actually didn't know that the Stormbreaker couldn't be used safely anymore. That is news to me. I do know he's been calling the Tiger Driver the Storm Driver. So maybe that is exactly where it's going. I wasn't aware of anything with the Stormbreaker. I don't know if
was it to do with an injury,
shoulder. That might be why. Yeah. I mean, I think Will is an example of somebody who's wrestled injured quite a lot and has been worried about having to end his career early. You know,
I think for me, like you said, with like MJF saying everything's dangerous, there isn't a wrestler who isn't at least a little bit hurt or injured or could do with a rest or whatever. And I just I can understand where everyone's like, where you three are coming from, and where like a lot of people are coming from, in the way that it's some things are too dangerous. But I guess I'm in like a bit of a camp of, it's like, I am not an expert in how to wrestle. I've never done it. I can look at like a photo or a video and of a move and go, well, that's dangerous. That shouldn't happen. But then, like, as many injuries as happened with those sort of moves, like you said with Danielson, but Ishimori a few weeks ago on a New Japan show, landed badly off a lariat, and lariats happen in every match. It's just one of like there's so many.
Hangman got knocked out a few weeks ago, like from a lariat.
I'm in sort of in a position where it's like they're the ones wrestling. If they want to land on their heads or do whatever, they just leave. Like you don't have to enjoy it, but I guess it's a little bit of a I wash my hands of it a little bit because you have no as like fans have any influence over if they should be doing moves or anything.
Yeah. And there's nothing we can do before or whatever. It doesn't matter what we say before. It's always, I think, a discussion worth having afterwards. But it's always going to be like, well, they're the fucking wrestlers. I would love to see the Tiger Driver spot. I will watch somebody do it again. I just hope people are always okay doing it. I think Kieran, it just popped away, but Kieran let us know Ospreay's shoulder is at risk of popping out when he does the Stormbreaker. He can pop it back in, slay, but obviously not a good thing to do. It is not. So yeah, maybe I think a Storm Driver could be the.
He's got his hidden blade, hasn't he now?
Yeah, the hidden blade's always a tense one to watch as well. Like
that's so well done. It's ridiculous.
It looks brutal every time.
Very good. It looks very good.
So brutal watching it.
It does feel a little bit like something from a past era of Will Ospreay when he was like more like his gimmick was more into the nerd shit. Like when he had with his little Assassin's Creed cosplays.
Yes, I mean, there's still strong enough to a lot of that, which is great. And I also think a really important part of this match, which they didn't mention on commentary, they didn't catch it before in the previous match as well, but the Kamigoye has to be mentioned.
That really wound me up. It's like it's obviously a Kamigoye.
It's a Kamigoye.
What's a Kamigoye?
And Kenny Omega's selling before it. Like
I know
he knew he knew he was being set up for it, and he was powerless to stop it. And Excalibur normally sells these moments so fucking well, but he just ignored it.
Better than this.
It's kind of worse.
Kevin Kelly's on commentary, and they
Kevin Kelly called it a V trigger at
Honestly,
it was just like, oh, this work.
When Kevin Kelly was like, it's a V trigger, I was like, fuck off, it's not a V trigger.
I am so glad that I was in the crowd and so didn't have to listen to that. So all it was Kamigoye and one winged angel and kick out at one and electric.
Yeah, that was amazing.
That was a special spot.
I thought that was the finish.
If there was ever if there was ever a spot to be in a crowd for, it was that one. Like that alone was worth the price of admission.
So special in terms of we've had him kick out of the BTE trigger at one. Right.
It wasn't the BTE trigger yet. It was the golden trigger.
It was, yeah. It was the first time they had moved to that positioning. And they hadn't called it the BTE trigger yet.
They didn't, but it didn't become the BTE trigger until like a year later, and that's because it's like on opposite sides.
Yes.
So the golden trigger is like their shoulder to shoulder, and then the BTE trigger, it's
this is expertise.
Sides.
This.
Yeah. It was one of those things.
Very important. The evolution of the BTE trigger.
Someone tell Excalibur the real name.
But it was the first time it wasn't exactly from the front, and I don't know if that was just because of positioning in that moment.
No, it was from the front though.
Oh, it was okay. Well, I'm getting my wires crossed.
I'm sorry. But I don't mean to actually you. I just feel very strongly about
actually.
But you know that was a kick out one.
Kevin Kelly. It was a Kamigoye.
The one wing angel kick out at one big thing. These are finishes that Kenny does. No one not kicking out of the Kamigoye, which I think is very telling. And maybe a beautiful little signal for Nobushi to show up in the future.
He didn't kick out of the Kamigoye.
He didn't kick out of the
one winged angel. That's so interesting.
It's classic Kenny putting
Yeah.
I'd not know. That's very smart. I'd not noticed that. That's great.
Yeah, I think it was very deliberate. I think it was a very deliberate thing.
I think you're right. because Ibushi's kicked out of the One-Winged Angel, but that has not gone the other way around.
The only. And now Kenny, I suppose, is the second person.
That was a perfect One-Winged Angel as well, by the way.
Great, wasn't it?
He has beautifully done.
He's been doing them.
Kenny's not hit one that good for a few months.
He's been doing them on the indies.
Yeah, I haven't seen anyone not Kenny Omega hit a One-Winged Angel that good. Like
a fantastic one is Will does it to Nick Wayne. And then he makes Nick Wayne kick out of the One-Winged Angel. He's dead. He lifts his shoulder up.
What a heel!
This was right at the beginning of the torrid affair. But yeah, I think a very, very special, thoughtful moments in that Will and Kenny match.
We just talk about the flag spot.
Yes, we absolutely can talk about the flag spot.
I was like, I have to rewatch this match now to see if Blue Jumper guys ever anywhere any other point.
And gave it back to the kid that was mouthing off at him early on in the match.
I respect that kid. He was good, wasn't he?
I think this is a good time for a poll. Who would try to get that flag back from that child?
No, I can do it. Not on pay-per-view.
Not on my life. Not on my life would I try to steal that flag back from that child. No, what about you two? No.
Jamie's like, well, I'll have to be there. I'll have to be there. I mean,
if it was a Yorkshire flag, I mean, I'm not losing that. But
the flag whole didn't belong to anyone. It's fine.
It belonged to Tony Khan, probably.
Belongs to Canada.
Yeah,
belongs to Canada. It's the spirit of Canada.
It was a great spot, though, wasn't it? It was very Shawn Michaels.
It was great. Beautiful, is what it was.
It was a very fun moment for a very intense match.
Yeah,
he's been practicing that in the mirror, hasn't he?
All Will thrown himself either way. Like I was like, wow, like incredible.
Are we going to draw a parallel between that and a Hangman choking out Mox?
That's what I thought it was. Yeah.
I also thought it was a nod to that.
I feel like that parallel is there, and it's very tasty.
Yes, I think it's a morsel rather than a meal, but it's certainly nice.
Yeah,
it's right. Yeah,
it's certainly
it's
thoughtful,
like a nice little,
if anything,
a nice little nibble on the charcuterie board.
For sure. And I suppose what my prediction for this match was that Don Callis would interfere. He did. But it would cause Will to somehow lose. And that All In would be the third match where Will would win the belt in the UK in a Wembley situation. What do we think of Will and Kenny 3?
Who won the sweepstake before we go on to Kenny 3? Who said Omega?
I said Ospreay.
I think
it was you then, Libby.
It's just me. Listen, when Kenny won the belt, no one believed me that it was going to happen. And I felt so powerful. I was like, I knew this is coming. They're going to have 3 fucking matches. It's going to be crazy. I'm okay. I'll take a loss in the middle.
Libby, when's the third match going to be?
If it could be at All In, that would be great. It's maybe not going to be because it's way too soon. Which is why I thought, like a third match for Will to take the belt would make more sense than Will having the belt and then Kenny challenging for it. I do think there will be a third match. I don't think it'll be All In because one, it's too soon, and I also don't think a belt will be involved because if there is an Ibushi element, which I hope there is, and Hay has expressed his want to be at All In. As I understand it, Ibushi cannot be involved with New Japan television. So, I think the belt, I think Kenny losing the belt is kind of a sign in that respect as well.
Bruce.
It's Bruce.
It's Bruce. If it was called Phil before, it's called Bruce now. That's for sure.
No, it was always Bruce. It was never called Phil. I would never name a living creature Phil.
Do we? I'm bringing this back around. I'm using all my powers here. Do we think Kenny Will 3 is on the cards? And do we think it could be an All In or further down the line?
I think if it happens, it'll be a Wrestle Kingdom. But I am not convinced that there will be a third. Not at least not for a very long time. maybe a couple of years or something. I think that it's kind of done for the next little while.
I feel about Kenny Will 3 about the same that I feel about Kenny Okada 5, which is I don't need it. It's like sorry, Liam.
All right.
Full offense to your
should
cat.
say as well. Liam has corrected me. It wasn't Nick Wayne. It was Mad Kurt. Thank you for letting me know.
Yeah.
I've been actually a lot this stream, so let me have one. Guys. No, I'm kidding. Carry on, MX.
Yes, sorry. So I kind of low-key hoped that Kenny would lose this match because I didn't want it to just be like a copy paste of the Okada series, except this time it's Kenny and Will. So I was actually kind of glad that Will won this match, even though, obviously I'm a huge Kenny Omega fan. As far as Kenny Will 3, obviously they can put on a good match, but first of all, these two, it's one of those matchups where these two push each other so hard for these matches, and I God, let them rest. And I would for the next one, for at least Kenny Will to just let it cook for a little bit, keep it on the back burner, let Kenny do other things. There are other Kenny matches that I think would also be really good, and the matches that he has left are limited, as much as I hate to think about it. So I don't need a 3, 4, 5 match series with Will Ospreay. I would actually like to see Kenny matchups with other people that I haven't seen before. So that's part of how I feel about that. But I mean, am I gonna be mad about it if we get Kenny Ospreay 3 at All In? No. Right? It'll obviously be a banger. I know better. It's hard for me to visualize how it could possibly compete with what he's done so far, what they've done so far. But I know better by now than to trust my the limits of my imagination in comparison to Kenny Omega. So, I have faith that it would be amazing, but I would like for him to not do so many matches that are just picking away at that health bar that he was able to build up with that, with those 9 months off, almost a year. So
I think I'm still, because of the so Kenny won clean and Ospreay's won not in the finish but with interference in the match. So I sort of feel like there has to be a third match. I'm still hoping it's at All In, just from a personal I'll be there perspective. But I think it makes sense that they've done one in Japan, one in Canada, and then one in Britain. It just makes sense as a circular trio.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it just makes sense to me. And the G1 finishes on the 13th of August, so there'll be 2 Dynamites and 2 Collisions in between. In between the G1 and All In. So if Ospreay
maybe for Will, he shouldn't wrestle at All In. Yeah, I'm now
they've got he can build it in post-match comments through the G1 and then turn up at Dynamite in 2 weeks. You're fine, aren't you? But I'm standing by the opinion that it will happen. So, but maybe I'm just blinkers on. I want it to happen, but
stay ignorant.
It makes sense.
It's happy. It's a happy place.
Also, it's real easy for me to say, "Oh, I don't need Kenny Will 3 at All In," when I was there for Kenny Will 2. So.
I feel to make the story complete, there should be 3. Even if it doesn't happen at All In, there should be 3. And it's more of an AEW story than a New Japan story now, anyway. So I feel like it would happen on an AEW show.
There's room down the line, I think. There'll be a time when Kenny will start wanting to wind up. And maybe this is the third match. Is that? I don't know, but maybe it's time for the main event. What do we think?
Are we skipping?
Okada.
Are we skipping?
Shit. Do you know what? Emotionally, I did also skip that.
I skipped it as well.
I also did. I didn't emotionally.
I didn't literally skip it, but I did not pay attention to what was going on.
I was very much out of this match.
I can sum it up in 30 seconds if you want. It was a trios match. It was fun. Naito was wearing a t-shirt. Sting's hilarious. Sammy Guevara did a 630 onto Sting on a table.
Onto Sting.
Sting forgot to move. Sting was meant to move, you could tell, because he got back in the ring straight away to do the next spot. And he just forgot to move, so he took it. And match done.
Yeah,
Naito wearing his t-shirt cracked me up, by the way. This match is not important enough for me to take off my t-shirt.
No offense, but all the AEW fans going, it's Forbidden Door, how dare you wear it? It's like, it's Naito, it's funny. Stick him in a singles match, he'll take his t-shirt off.
Absolutely.
The hilarity of the full tearaway suit for the t-shirt to be underneath is the most Naito thing you could ever do.
I love Naito.
And I'm so glad he did it.
It's what we deserve. It's what we deserve.
Naito is a beautiful thing. It's so important.
So this was the point in the evening where a couple of lads behind me started really feeling their drinks.
Oh no! There's always a few.
And started being extremely obnoxious from here up through the main event. So this is the point where I would like to poll you guys. What is the level of disruptive behavior at the wrestling show where it's like, all right, guy, knock it the fuck off? Because like, I don't want to be one of those people who's like trying to like tell people to behave themselves at the wrestling show, act with some couth at the wrestling show. Like, it's a rowdy event, right? Like, I understand, like, we're here to have a good time.
Wrestling fans don't have like high social standards often, do they? Like,
do they have couth?
Couth?
But like,
what is couth? Is this what?
You know, uncouth? It's the opposite of uncouth.
It's the opposite of couth. Uncouth is like you're acting kind of disorderly, rude. It's not the impolite thing to do, which is something uncouth.
Yeah. So the opposite is couth, as in
really
have
old,
some couth, baby girl.
I feel uncomfortable explaining it. It's such a posh kind of word. I don't feel good explaining it.
Not comporting yourself in an appropriate manner.
So it's like the standards, the codes of conduct at the wrestling shows is pretty low, right? I have done my best to accept this, even though I'm somebody who is a highly distractible and easily overstimulated. So
I mean, I'm very conflict averse, so someone could turn around and shout at me, and I'd be like, "Okay, thank you." But I mean, we have been in situations before. I mean, Revolution, the first Revolution I went to, which was like
Corey firing shots at wrestling fans.
Oh, you already see wrestling fans online. They've never seen a book on etiquette and manners, let alone a bar of soap. I had some
I'm not
bad
even talking. Yeah, I'm not even talking about a book on etiquette and manners. Like, I'm talking about like, what is the limit? What is the floor for acceptable wrestling fan behavior?
I guess
mine is getting in my personal space. Like, if they start invading my personal space, then I am very happy to tell someone to fuck off.
That's a low floor. That's a very low floor.
Maybe the line is if they're taking away from like the actual wrestling or from other people, I guess. But I've only been to small shows, and some people there have had like had a good day, and they've like, but their chance is getting everyone involved and that sort of thing. I remember the example, it was Pac in Rev Pro against Shota Umino. They did a match, and it was Pac's return, and there was a few people in the corner chanting "Pac is back, all right" to the Backstreet Boys song for about 3 minutes. But it's like, it's just great because Pac got involved and was like shouting at them, and it's just a great laugh, that sort of thing. But then if they were doing it and it was taken away, like if it was like an intense part of the match, then that would be like, you say, a bit too fast sort of thing.
So if it's actively impeding people's ability to focus on the match in front of them,
as long as it's not getting in people's way, I guess, isn't it?
Okay.
I think any kind of like hate speech or things as well.
Yeah,
like that I would not.
Yeah, that is a low floor, because the lads behind me did not care about anybody else's experience of what was going on. Were very main character syndromed and actively impeded my ability to enjoy the wrestling show. So that was fun.
Yeah,
it's cool.
You know what is most fascinating is when the first Revolution I went to, when people were, when it was the main event, and people, no, it wasn't the main event, it was just before. I
think it was the whichever elite match or Bucks match it was.
Well, this was with Brian, and there were clearly some NXT guys next to us because we were in Florida, and they were chanting Daniel Bryan, clap, 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 and you don't know when you're watching the show because you can't hear them. And I watched it back and I was like, that's fascinating. There was a point where Brian, he turned around and he just looked at them dead in the eye and sighed, and then went back to the match. And we were like, oh my God. And then later in the match, when it was Adam versus Adam in the main event, they were obviously there for their main boy, Adam Cole, and Adam Hangman was cutting like his face promo at the end, and they were like booing and screaming, and just all of us were like, what are you doing? And you see, and Hangman turned to them and he was like, I know some of you guys aren't happy with me right now and I'm trying my best. And it changed the course of his promo. We were so close to the ring and they were so loud, and it was kind of, that was really off-putting for me in that moment, because you can affect us or whatever, but when it hits the wrestlers in the ring, it's kind of like, wow, I think you should be embarrassed for yourself right now. Like you have paid to see these people, and
they're done with your shit,
and they don't want you there. Like, is that not embarrassing? Is that not cringe-worthy for you? It's the same when I see people like touch wrestlers, like grab them or pat them or whatever.
God,
that's so weird.
It makes
when
me
they're
so
walking past.
I hate it so much.
Don't do that. It's things like that. I think that's my line for me, really. But if it was at me, I wouldn't do anything about it probably. For the wrestlers,
that was a big digression, but I wanted to get the temperature on like what was considered like actively disruptive.
That song can go into Room 101, by the way. Fucking wait on
I put it on the screen just the fact that now that song is stuck in my head. So thank you for that, Connor.
Really, I do want to say as well, it is always more intense being a female identifying person at a wrestling show when there's a bunch of drunk guys around. It is intense. It's an intense thing to deal with, and I just think if you're a guy at a wrestling show, don't be threatening. It's just what I'm saying. Like, it's on you.
Being loud and drunk at disruptive at the wrestling show is like, do I want to get involved with this? Will this just encourage the behavior? Will this ruin my night more? Like, it's that cost benefit analysis, right? And it was just hard because like they were obviously like annoying everybody, but like nobody was saying something. And
bystander effect's a wonderful thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and like I didn't want to be the one to say something because it's like a different dynamic if I'm the one to say something.
Yeah.
Sometimes
it's a difficult thing. Like I've told people to shut the fuck up in the cinema. Like but it's when it's like goes on for a little bit of time. I get what you're saying. Like it's and what Libby was saying, it's easier for me to tell someone to shut the fuck up than it probably would be for you. But like again, like it cost benefit analysis, I guess.
And really, it's just like, I always think, I don't have to necessarily worry about telling someone to shut the fuck up, because that person should be worrying about being the person having to be told to shut the fuck up.
Oh, but they don't care.
But they don't care.
If they cared, they wouldn't do it to begin with. Yeah, it was just interesting.
The shame and the karma comes around to them, and they bad seats for the next show they try.
All this to say is I absorbed absolutely nothing of this match. I was absolutely fucking exhausted by the time that we got here, and but it looked like it was cool and there was cool stuff happening.
The Sex Gods did a really cool spot where they like rested on each other. That really made me laugh.
Yeah.
That was good.
If you've seen that spot, that was the match. Really.
You
don't worry about
that. Excellent. A great meme I saw of that was like the pile of them. It was like Suzuki. Anxiety, depression, Minoru Suzuki.
Nice. I love that meme. It's so
I think before we go on to the main event, I think Liam's comment here is quite. I think I'm sort of in that boat with him. It's like you see it a lot just with sport in general. Like if a footballer walks past or he's like next to the touchline, you'd get like a tap on the shoulders. Like as long as it's like on the shoulder or like on the back, or you know what I mean, sort of thing. Rather than, I reckon that's like where you draw the line in that sort of in like the touching arrestor sort of way.
I
don't think that like I don't know. I think it's weird. Like unless it's some like. I know that they're kind of inviting it implicitly because people have no fucking self-control, but the only time that like people should really be touching wrestlers is when they do things like CM Punk jumping into the crowd. Like that is them asking you to catch them. That you have to do that. But like walking past them and touching them, like have some fucking self-control. They're not the Messiah. They're not going to heal you. You can walk them you can watch them as they go past. It is okay to not touch the people.
It is one of those things that I have kind of accepted that like this is a part of like wrestling fan culture that I am just completely disconnected from, and I'm like trying not to like impose my own weirdnesses onto it, but like I hate being touched without permission. I hate it so much. And like I've been in like so many different other kinds of like entertainment cultures where where it is very explicit that you are not to touch performers without permission. Like you are absolutely not to touch performers without permission. So it's hard for me to square that with wrestling, but that's just like a personal thing, I guess.
For sure.
It's not like a prescription or whatever. It seems to be like extremely common in wrestling spaces, but I personally
and I think what Liam said here, it's like a sports thing. People are kind of
it's definitely just a sports thing in general. Like you see it like your golf or your football or whatever, if they're walking past they'll get like a "I'll go on" sort of thing like on the
and there is there is things like they are coming into the crowd to scissor with you, so that you cannot be faulted with
different.
That.
That's different.
For sure.
Yeah,
when Anthony Bowens is leading back with like the scissoring thing, like that's completely different. The signal is very clear. Right.
I think that's kind of line I was trying to draw. Like when wrestlers are actively courting that, and when they're just walking past doing moves, and everyone's like, "Let's touch the man."
It's an interesting one to see. It's always something I'm always like, yes, always notice. It's definitely a sports culture thing for sure.
Definitely.
Well. Is it
time for the final countdown, Libby?
Is it actually time?
I was very happy for all of the...
YouTube's going to demonetize that now.
We've said the world's final countdown, so we have to pay for one of the Dark Order wrestlers to be fired, so we've got enough money.
Oh my god, yeah. I mean, I thought it was just nuts when he was like, it cost me as much as it is to hire a wrestler.
Which wrestler, though? Like, Kip Sabian's on about £5, isn't he? So.
Oh, Kip.
Poor Kip.
Yeah, take that, Kip Sabian. You're getting some good out there.
Me and Libby are both like, poor Kip. We love Kip.
If he's on that all-in show just because he's British, I would not be happy.
Listen, Kenny Omega was gone for a year, and as soon as he was back, he got Kip Sabian back in that fucking ring. It is a sign, okay? Kip Sabian is a talented man.
He is deeply underappreciated.
The most interesting and impressive thing about Kip Sabian is his hair.
You are such a deeply bitter, sad man.
Alex does this to me all the time. He takes all of the things that I love and is like, it's bad actually.
You can feel that way. I'm just letting you know that.
I apologize for the this time I'm with you, Libby. This time we're together. I couldn't get with you with what's his face, but I can be with you with Kip Sabian. Timothy Thatcher, there we go.
Oh yeah. Well, Jamie's with me on Timothy Thatcher. That's all right.
We like Timothy Thatcher.
I like Timothy Thatcher.
Yes. Yeah.
MX doesn't
I have no opinions about Timothy Thatcher.
Yeah, I kind of nothing him. He's there. His presence doesn't offend me. He does wrestling moves and leaves.
That episode of Elite Wrestling
what more
was really good for me. So true. It's so true. What more do you want?
But anyway, yes, Bryan Danielson versus Kazuchika Okada.
Now, I predicted, much like Wrestle Kingdom, that this match, the main event to follow it, would not, and history.
It's a Dickensian name, isn't it?
Timothy Thatcher, not British. It is the biggest mystery in the world.
Because he was on the British scene for so long, he was like, "Oh, he's British," but he's just not.
He just looks it. He just looks so British.
He does look very British.
It looks like he's had a fight outside of Wetherspoons, doesn't it? And I know,
he really does.
The American audience on this that'll fly over their heads, but
been betrayed by Colin.
Oh, can't join you with this one, Alex. Kip rules.
Kip rules. Hell yeah.
Give me the 2 good Kip Sabian matches. I'll give you if you can list 2, fair play. If you can list 1, fair play.
Right in this moment, I won't bow to this. I'm not bowing to this.
Kenny versus Kip, and then Kip and Penelope versus Kenny and Riho. Boom.
Oh, that is that is.
I'll watch that. I can't remember.
Look, it's well established. My memory is not serving me great today. Okay?
I'll give you that Anarchy arcade thing. That was all right.
Yeah.
That was good fun. Anyway, okay, main event. Yeah. So
the main event of the dream match of all dream matches.
The dream match for specific people, I'm sure. This is. Do we think this delivered? What?
Yes.
I mean, was it the main event for you guys?
No, it wasn't as good as Kenny Omega and Ospreay, but I think it met expectations. Sometimes this just happens. Like, was it we were saying the other day? So Meltzer was saying that he has never seen a Okada main event that didn't somehow manage to supersede the best match that went before it.
Wrestle Kingdom.
That just happened.
Kingdom. I mean, this is the second time it happened. Yeah.
I'm happy to play Dave for the.
I thought this was a fantastic match, and a testament to how good they both are. I thought that Danielson was selling his arm.
Really?
I did not realize that he had broken it until after the match, and you seen his arm, and it was bruised, and I was like, "Fucking hell, what did he do?"
Have you seen the picture?
The X-rays.
Have you seen the X-ray?
Yeah, it's
picture?
yeah.
Oh. Yeah, nasty. I think for me, it's when you expect a match to be the best match you've ever seen, it's never going to live up to expectations. But it was still good. And at the time, with the finish being like the tap out, and I was a bit like, oh, right, it's just sort of ended. But then half an hour later, when I saw he broke his arm 10 minutes before the finish, I was like, right, you can, in hindsight, it's a great match more than it is when you're actually watching it, I think. But it was still a very good match. And if not as good as Omega Ospreay, it's still great.
Did you expect the tap out? Because I didn't.
No, I literally went, what?
Tap out. Supposedly not tapped out in 10 years.
I went back to Google that. Yeah, it's been 10 years.
First since it was Nakamura. Was it 2015 or 2013? One of the two.
That's what I read.
It's 2013, I think.
Tapped out. Yeah, it's fantastic. They'll make good worth out of it.
What I thought about that was it shows the level of trust that both companies have in each other now. Because in Forbidden Door 1, that would not have happened. Absolutely fucking not. And they clearly, obviously Danielson's probably going to go over there at some point there to work a match with Okada to get a win back or whatever. But I loved this match. I thought it was fucking fantastic.
I did really enjoy it. Yeah.
If it hadn't have been for Omega and Ospreay, we would have probably been talking about it as maybe one of the best of the year. Right.
Yeah, I think it's a very good match. It's not on the level of the Omega Ospreay match, but then in hindsight, you look, he broke his arm 10 minutes before the finish. He wrestled with a broken arm for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And in that way, it is even better looking in that sort of way that he carried on and wrestled such a great match despite that. And the way they improvised and adapted with the finish, I mean, I think the finish was still meant to be a tap out. I don't think they'd do that on the fly.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the way that Brian engaged his feet to do the submission, I know
it's That's what, like, he's one of the best wrestlers in the world just because he can so adapt so well to situations like that. And like Alex said, with it being, you wouldn't see it last year. I think it took New Japan a year with that first Forbidden Door to be like, yeah, we can trust them, and that's really shown through this year.
Liam with a really interesting point here with Okada tapping. I feel like there will be a rematch at WK18.
Yes,
New Japan isn't just going to let that one go. Rematch in Japan would be a fantastic situation, actually.
Just to go on a slight tangent, I think Okada will take Kiyomiya at WrestleMania. That'll be the WrestleMania, at Wrestle Kingdom.
Oh, that's a very different show.
It's been 2 hours. I'm starting to lose it, but that'll be the Wrestle Kingdom match, and I think they'll do Danielson Okada in Japan, maybe at Dominion next year, but they'll do it next year.
Dominion is probably quite a good shout in terms of that is like their second biggest, show, very important show. And I every time that Okada, because obviously Okada always kind of grabs the same arm to do the ripcord lariat, and every time he grabbed his broken arm, I was like, oh my god. It's like, I don't know what I'm about to see. It added something.
Because you knew his arm
yeah, because I watched it the day after, so I was aware what already happened. And I don't know if anybody watching live could tell. Did you get the feeling that people?
No, not at all. Not at all. Not even a little bit. I didn't have any idea that he was injured at all.
They worked around that so well. Like, I just thought it was story. Genuinely.
Good. Yeah, it just seemed like story. It just seemed like a sell job, which was like a triumph.
The seizure spot. How did the seizure spot go down?
So I fucking hate that spot so bad. Yeah. The thing is that like I caught it on the camera and I could see that Danielson's head didn't touch the floor.
Right.
So that time I wasn't worried, but I hate those spots. I've talked about this before. Stop bringing the freaking doctor in. Stop doing these spots where it might be a real injury. I hate it. It's like that. It's like that terrifying bump that Kenny took in the last match. It didn't add anything to it, and it kind of took something away because, like, if you care about these people at all, you don't want them to get injured for real. So if they're injured for real, that breaks the performance because it's not a part of the performance anymore. Like, somebody that you care about could be hurt.
I guess to play devil's advocate, not saying like this is my point of view, but would you not say maybe it's that it's making you believe that they are properly hurt? Does that not add and maybe show a bit more like more dramatic than otherwise? With that, I guess that's the kind of
because
sometimes, like, what Danielson did reminded me more of Alexa Bliss when she pretends that her arm is broken because she's like double jointed than it did when he was selling the concussion when he come back from injury against Daniel Garcia. That it was genuine. That I didn't like. But when I don't know, I have seen seizures. I was like, that's not a seizure. He's just being a bellend. And it was just making me laugh, I guess, like, because it was obvious heel stuff. But I think there are levels to it. Maybe if people aren't familiar with what this looks like, they would maybe be taken out of it, like MX was saying. But I thought this was fine. I thought it was funny.
I wasn't taken out of like this particular spot, like the seizure spot, because like I didn't think it was real for a minute. But like the possibility of like real injury always upsets me. Like it always upsets me. So it doesn't add to the drama because like it's not drama, it's upsetting. And I think that sometimes there's this conflation made with like, well, if you feel anything, then it's good. And I don't believe that that's true because like I don't want to be extremely stressed out. I don't want to be upset. I don't want to like see like, you know, not to get all parasocial about it, but to get all parasocial about it. Like I don't want to see a human being that I care about to be injured. Right. And the idea that a human being that I care about might be injured is never dramatic to me. It's just upsetting. And then on the flip side,
fair point.
Yeah, and then on the flip side, we get the situation like last Forbidden Door with Adam. I was really mad about the finish. I didn't know that Adam was horribly injured, and then I felt like a dickhead. So it's like, so both of those scenarios are bad. Like, both of those scenarios are not desirable outcomes for making people feel stuff, I don't think.
Just want to say again, every time that gets brought up, what Jay White did in that match was next level. Like, him immediately recognizing what had happened when the other two were clearly confused as to what was going on, and him just ending the match was the exact sort of person you want to be in the ring with.
Yeah. I cannot wait until we're at a point with Forbidden Door when Jay can have a big Forbidden Door match, because he has got plenty of things he can dig into.
It's horrible that he wasn't on this card. It's too soon. Yeah. To Liam's point, though,
I don't think that's always true.
When sometimes production doesn't know, right? And there's a miscommunication. So that can be really awful. But then at that point, then the pacing has ground to a halt. Like, now it's boring. Like, now I'm like, if it's clear that it's work, now we're just hanging around. You're rolling around on the floor. Like,
that would be a hard carry for Jay White Connor.
Oh,
that'd be a hard carry for
Jay White.
Listen, I just want to put it out there. I think this is quite likely to happen.
But do it? Oh, don't do that.
No.
As long as Jay goes over.
CM Punk wants to work Jay White, and
as long as Jay goes over,
they're having their little trios fights. They get in the ring together in those situations. You can tell that they want to antagonize each other. I think it.
Yeah, CM Punk wants to work them, doesn't he?
Both of them.
If you know what, if he can keep it together and not have a tantrum before then, that precludes him from showing up on the show, and Jay White goes over, fine. All power to him.
I think there's a very good chance Jay White goes over in this situation.
Better,
because it just makes him look like a better heel, and if CM Punk is supposed to be a face, then that works for him.
But there's no question about who's the better wrestler, right? Like, come on. Come on.
I don't know. You know what? Yeah, it's Kip Sabian. It's Kip Sabian all the way.
No, Jay White now is in 2023. Jay White's a better wrestler than CM Punk.
I mean, yeah, for sure.
2022 probably, because Jay White's not wrestled for a bit, has he?
My hot take on CM Punk is that he's never been a great wrestler. He's just been a really great storyteller. I don't think and that is I guess that those things are kind of intertwined, aren't they? To be a great wrestler, you have to be a great storyteller. But I don't think that you could put CM Punk up there with Zack Sabre Jr. or even in his prime, Jay White just now. I think that Punk was really good at getting people to believe in him and making him care, so his matches felt better. But if you go back and watch them, I don't think that he's ever been as good as Punk said he was.
Really,
but that's how I feel about 3-star General Cody Rhodes, right?
The 3-star savior.
3-star savior, sure.
3 stars is generous to them Cody Rhodes matches.
Cody is a passable wrestler and has the capacity to be an incredible storyteller. I've been going back and watching 2017 ROH and seeing Cody in them and being like, oh man, I miss him so much.
That's the best Cody that there's ever been. I say this all the time.
It's so true.
Anything
he was so good.
Cody. Give in to being a heel, because look what you did, sweetie. You are amazing. Please, you could do it again. I really
that's absolutely fair, yeah.
And with Connor here, Alex, I have to say.
Oh,
CM
Punk versus
you got.
I will say Punk versus MJF dog collar match was
fantastic.
An incredible match.
It was my match of the year.
No caveats. Beautiful.
It was. It is different strokes for different folks. You know, if what you really enjoy is, I guess the reason CM Punk probably against the will of what WWE wanted at the time, supposedly, is he was really great for that product in that situation, and it was so so very good. And if that's what you enjoy, then that will be the best for you. It's kind of like, you know, you'll watch a Stardom show and then you'll be like, wow, that was fucking amazing. And then like you'll watch, I don't know, Dynamite straight after and you're like, wow, this is really different. It's a very different situation. And you just have to be like, it's a different thing for different people in a different situation. Like, it's not always comparable. And you just have to go, okay,
I loved CM Punk. Like, back when he was working with WWE, like, he was my favorite thing in wrestling at the time. Like, I don't like, not trying to be revisionist. It's just, I don't know, like, when he was running about shouting, "I'm the best in the world," Kenta existed, and so did Tanahashi. I don't know, like, I just don't think that he's ever been on that level, I guess.
I think it's hard to say, like, specific who is the singular best wrestler in the world, but I think for the last 20 years, he's been one of. I'd stick him in the conversation.
That's fair, yeah. I'm not going to disagree. Like, I think it's absolutely fair.
I think for me, it's like you can segregate it into a Japanese best wrestler, and then because it's just different styles from like the North American style. But I think he's one of the best North American wrestlers of the last 20 odd years.
Yeah.
This is the hottest take of the podcast, though.
Oh, heck, even Punk's matches with The Rock didn't suck. They were
yes, it did.
They were a time to like. I never watched those like at the time when they happened, but I am aware of what it was like, and it's like, wow, what that was like a situation to witness. The tough thing if WWE was your favorite thing at the time, which for me it was at one point, and then being there for a decline moment is always very difficult. You know, that is one of those decline moments where you're like, oh wow, it's really not giving what it's supposed to give right now.
Yeah.
I have no idea what the card at Wembley will be. Oh, were we going to run down the Dynamite show? That's tonight. My sense of time is all over the place.
Who has the card? Because I don't.
I'm heading to Twitter now because I know, as I find it, I know Moxley versus Ishii is on the card. So that's definitely...
That was supposed to be Danielson and Ishii. I know that.
Yeah, might as well be
on Discord. Thanks, Connor.
We've got for
Connor saving the day
tonight, isn't it? We've got Britt Baker against Ruby Soho in the Owen Hart tournament. We hear more pairings from the blind tag team, whatever. We hear from Jungle Boy, MJF and Adam Cole, and then Ishii Moxley. And then the main event, it looks like, is the tornado tag between Jericho and Sammy Guevara against Sting and Darby Allin.
Oof.
So 3 matches and a couple of, quite a few talking moments.
Am I being mean when I say that's a rough follow-up card to Forbidden Door?
I reckon for me, the Moxley Ishii match would be great just because of who's in the ring, and they've had a great match before in the G1 a few years ago.
Yeah,
and the tornado tag will be fun.
Chemistry with a Rock, like
that's because he is a Rock.
Yeah, that'll do it.
So true. Thanks, a Rock to know a Rock.
If Hung Bucks will have a match, I'm there for that.
In action, they're either squashing someone or they're cutting a promo.
It might not be like a full squash. They tend not to do those.
I mean, it's not enough. It's not very them to squash someone, but you know, TK will TK.
Yeah, that's true.
It'd be interesting to see if they do any story work off the back of Forbidden Door outside of Jungle Boy.
Yeah, it would be nice.
I think the Sammy Jericho stuff is going to continue to develop.
I'm very tired of the Sammy Jericho stuff. The Sammy Jericho stuff has been developing for
25 years now.
Yeah, it certainly seems that way.
We have our Jungle Boy turn, which really wasn't. It's just kind of happened at Forbidden Door.
He's looking very moody in that picture.
Yeah.
Definitely a heel now.
It's very disconnected, isn't it? It's very much back to business.
This happened last year, though. like I said in the podcast, like as much as I love Forbidden Door, it's a bit of a distraction for their storytelling and their build for their own pay-per-view. And now for the next 2 weeks, we'll have them trying to rectify that and get the stories back on path and be like, hey, remember that this story was going on.
I think that there's a way to do that, though. That's not so disruptive. I mean, you know,
the Elite have managed it.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Is like you can weave in if you have your storyline, but you're weaving it in and out of other things that you're doing. It's pretty easy to take a detour or do a side quest and then go right back into it. But you know, if the storytelling is pretty clunky, then it's going to come across pretty clunky.
Yeah, we're in a weird. What's your favorite post WWE Jericho? Baitmaker, Lion Tamer, Wizard, Bubbly, Inner Circle, or JAS? I feel like MX is just gonna be like, "Can I?" Is the option none?
I was not going to say anything.
Mine is the Painmaker. I liked his run in New Japan. I thought
he was very good as the Painmaker in New Japan.
Yes.
And in AEW, the Inner Circle, I think the little bit of the bubbly thing was hilarious, but it's a catch.
That was amazing.
And that,
memes that come out of that.
That's the thing.
What was it? The lexicon of whatever, Le Champion, wasn't it? The lexicon of Le Champion.
Yes.
So yeah, I remember that around that sort of time. That was great.
I do. It's always been one of these things with Jericho and AEW where he's had a faction of great people. And you just after a while you just want to free them. you just want them to do things like Santana and Ortiz should have been tag team
He's
champions.
like a black hole though, isn't he? Like nothing has enough energy to escape his gravity.
Yeah.
Hey, pop quiz, when was the last 2.0 match?
Oh, don't. I love them and we never see them.
So when was it? When did they wrestle? When were they a tag team? Sorry, God. I loved them very much, and I was heartbroken when they got in Jericho's match.
Is this the Matt Menard fella?
Yes, this is the Matt Menard
fella.
I don't know who the other one's called. I remember Matt Menard. I see this speaks to your point, MX. They're like Matt Menard's quite funny, and the other fella exists.
I mean, they wheel them out to do everything but wrestle.
It was May on Dark.
Okay, on
Dark doesn't count, does it? Let's be honest.
And the one before that was the 3rd of May on Rampage, and it was Adam Cole, Bandito, Orange Cassidy, and Roderick Strong versus the Jericho Appreciation Society.
That's such a weird match.
Wow.
When was the last time that they were like an actual tag team, though?
Did you say Roderick Strong and Orange Cassidy?
You know what? I don't think they've truly been. They were signed, and then they were there, and then
they were with Danny Garcia, and they were an amazing trio, and they were so fun, and they were having like great fun matches, and like doing all sorts of cool stuff, and then they ended up in the Jericho Appreciation Society, and I was like, I will never see them wrestle as a tag team again. And I
might be reading this wrong, but I think that the last match that they had as 2.0 was March last year.
Mm-hmm. That does not surprise me. That doesn't
Holy
fuck!
Me. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's actually worse than Proud and Powerful. Like, what the fuck?
So
are they still signed?
So ask me again what I think about Jericho.
He's great. I agree. No, I'm joking. He's he's sell by date sort of. He's like gone off milk these days, but he's all right in moderation, which he's not. He doesn't know how to do.
He's not in moderation, and
I have a very quick answer for this, Connor. No.
Thoughts on Hollywood Jack.
Is the Bang Bang Gang meant to be is that Jay White's lot? Is that what
Yes, that's what they've been calling themselves.
Nowhere near but no Japan at all.
Fascinating if that happens. I think not, but I would be intrigued. I don't want it.
That would happen. Although I
kind of morbidly want to see it.
Jack Perry would do anything, so there is that.
I'm crossing my fingers that boy has a rhyme and a reason to do things going forward, because to be the best wrestler and wrestle good is not being enough, and it's just tough. It's just a rough spot for him to be in. I really hope this births something for him.
He's a really good wrestler. He just needs a personality.
Yeah,
true. I will agree with Connor. Can we put that last comment up?
Yes, the Guns are a perfect match to join.
I am happy for them. I would like to see more of them. They took a really bad situation and they managed to stick out and shine, and I think that's very impressive. And I wish
you have to have a certain energy to hang out with Jay White, because he will overshadow you. He is that good. Oh, Corey.
Corey, you can leave the stream now.
Yeah, you can leave.
Banned. Look at gold. You know what? Listen, Bullet Club is forever expanding in every orifice you can imagine.
I'll take a second.
It's not possible.
I'll ignore Goldberg's just for the AEW, but for the AEW, the trio on the screen there, Jeff Jarrett is the best wrestler of those three. There you are.
Wow. At this point,
thanks for listening. I shall see you later.
Okay.
Mic drop.
When you get trolled.
Better or worse than Kip Sabian, though?
Oh, I'm a better wrestler than Kip Sabian. Now, joking. I'm joking. He's better than Kip Sabian. Kip Sabian is better than those two. All of them, actually. So.
Jamie versus Kip versus Jeff Jarrett is a match I would now.
Jeff Jarrett's the last, isn't he? In that, I know people had issue with that, obviously, but that Ric Flair retirement match, Jeff Jarrett was amazing. He was the soul carrier of that match, and it's he's great. He just comes out, hits.
You're not selling this match to me, man.
Sorry, state of affairs.
It was funny. I remember watching.
He's the carry of the match.
Listen, it's just we don't need to see him every week now
at all.
Yeah,
that's still fun though, isn't it? Unless that's just me.
To Liam's point,
it's just you.
Okay. To Liam's point, in defense of Proud and Powerful, they had backstage drama, so they broke up. Also, they'd both been hurt for a while. The backstage drama was because they were in disagreement with how they were being treated as part of the inner circle. That was
their issue came after about 2 years of not being a tag team, basically.
Yeah, to being Jericho's henchman, and one of them was chill with it, and the other one was decidedly not chill with it, and and that's awful. It's awful that they were put in that situation. They should never have been put in that situation. They never ran back Proud and Powerful versus the Best Friends, which is booking malpractice if I've ever heard it.
Huge missed opportunity.
Yeah. Anyway,
what a time. But I guess that's the Dynamite. I mean, it's not the most captivating card. I'd like to think there's more on it. We've got some interesting stuff going with Adam Cole, MJF.
Why are we doing this blind tag team eliminator tournament? When we have all of these tag teams that don't.
Because Tony Khan's got a hard on for fucking WCW.
Yeah, that's essentially
That's become increasingly and distressingly obvious.
I am
storytelling, right?
He's drawing the balls out the bingo machine next week.
God. The bingo machine was so unnecessary. I love seeing RJ though. We love RJ City.
At All In, we'll have the reverse battle royal.
Oh
my God!
Please.
Oh.
No TNA.
I mean, we've got Jeff Jarrett here. You don't think he's already pitching that?
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Guitar on a pole match.
Guitar on a pole. Good luck to them in Wembley. I'm fascinated to see how everyone gets to the ring, because that pitch is fucking huge.
Yeah.
It's massive. I hope I see some golf buggies. I think that'll be funny. Jeff Jarrett on a golf buggy? That'll be stupid. That'll be stupid. And I would like that golf buggy to take a swift U-turn and not make it to the ring and just go backstage. I don't want to see Jeff Jarrett wrestle all him. I
really hope Jeff Jarrett's on that show. I hope he's in a 6-man tag that doesn't matter, but I hope he's there. I want to hear the theme song. Mate, I love it.
Listen to it on YouTube. Stop trying to curse the show I'm traveling down to see.
Are you?
I'm suffering London for this show.
Yeah,
don't put fucking Jeff Jarrett on the card.
Am I correct in assuming that you're not a regular consumer of AEW?
No, I'm not.
Well, give it away.
Yeah. It is quite easy. It is quite easy to advocate for Jeff Jarrett when he isn't taking up fully a quarter of the show that you watch.
You know what will make you understand? Yeah. I think think about when House of Torture first came around.
Yeah.
And it was just like, why are they here? Why are they doing that? Okay. Why are they involved in this? Why are they doing the same thing every week?
I guess it's for me because when I see him in moderation, I'm like, it's great. I've not seen him for a few weeks. It's great, but I guess when every week, it's like
every week.
Yeah. I tell you, when I turn on the pay-per-view, what's the odd match? So that Concession Stand Brawl, that was a good laugh. But I've not seen him for a few weeks. So I thought I can just. A few guitar shots and there we are, off we go. So,
I think that all it is just entertainment during the intermission, really. Like it's it is. It's like piss break time, like when FTR's music hit.
Oh, hey, listen,
you'll regret making that offer, Connor. You really will. I'm at both shows. You will be tracked down.
It all depends on the match with FTR. It all depends. Hey, if
they
run
depends on whether
FTR,
their opponents can carry them.
Yes.
Sorry. I saw my opening and I took it. I saw my opening and I took it. I don't really believe that.
I won't say it's not valid, but if we get FTR Aussie Open 2, I'm not leaving my seat. Seeing that for the first time was incredible. FTR's fault is that they speak. When they
can we just take a moment to appreciate that they tried to get a CM Punk chant going in Canada and they got fucking
Oh, that was so read the room. Read
it was so fucking funny. It was so funny.
Don't know what planet
fucking
they're on.
IQ in negative numbers. Jesus Christ.
They need to catch on really, because otherwise they like CM Punk at least is kind of mixing it up and he knows where he is. CMFTR as a unit, like they need to wise up to what's happening around them. Otherwise, they're just going to fade into the nothingness.
But they won't know what to do unless Pepsi Phil tells them what to do. So.
Oh boy. They are a can of worms. FTR versus Aussie Open was my match of the year in 2022. Incredible. Such a good match. If you haven't watched it, New Japan took about 8 years to actually finally get the recording up of Real Quest 2. And if you haven't watched it, it's definitely worth watching. Unless you're Alex and MX, in which you will not be swayed.
Oh, I said their run last year was fucking fantastic. They put on some amazing matches. Presumably because they were lucky enough to wrestle with some fantastic teams, but they were
tango, Alex.
4.
Huh?
No, it was a very good. It was a very good run that they had last year, and
they should just go heel. Mix it up.
Sorry?
The FaceTime is gone. FTR's FaceTime is faded. I would love.
It's really
to see
difficult to be a face though when a face when you're naturally a dickhead. It's a bit like.
It's true.
Like Randy Orton 10 years ago.
Oh yeah, that's quite a good comparison, I think actually. Well, we'll see tonight on Wait, no, we won't see FTR on Dynamite. We'll see on Collision on Saturday
on Punk Island.
Oh yes, exactly.
I have fun over there.
I watched, just so you know what I'm talking about, on Sunday mornings when we recorded to the Wrestleverse. Oh, yeah. Otherwise, I would be asleep. I should watch.
It's in those moments where I'm glad I do a Puro podcast because I can be like, I'm not watching 5 hours of AEW every week. It's not happening.
It's like 25 hours of New Japan during the G1.
Yeah.
Well, the Tamatonga match can get in the bin. I'll just watch the Chase Owens. Off you go, mate. So.
Yeah.
I apologize. Tamatonga was not the one to pick out. Chase Owens was. So sick of Leo. So, but there's lots.
There's been a deep
Kieran won't be happy about that.
Hey, we've been dunked. We've dunked on Chase Owens. I think one of the very first podcast episodes we did was a G1 preview. There was some dunking on. Not me. I didn't dunk on Chase Owens.
He was weird at us on Twitter. It was really weird.
I don't know how he got the episode, but he found the episode.
I think I remember him being on Into the Rest of Us once, and I complained about Chase Owens. I've not been invited back since, and I've put that out there. But I feel like
no, because it was Trent. It was Trent who was dunking hard. So maybe it's time to bring you back and bring us back up.
We were all dunking on Chase Owens. Let's be real.
And rightfully so.
Yes, very rightfully so.
There's a certain quality of match. I'm not a professional wrestler. I don't say that I can do what he can do, but in the New Japan ring, there's a certain quality of match you look for. But Chase Owens just doesn't necessarily give you that feeling for.
Wait, less so than Yano.
I'm going soft on it because I don't want to be tweeted at by Chase Owens.
Come at me, bro.
He will find you.
I'm okay without it.
He has antennae, so when his name gets said on podcasts and videos.
If I disappeared, Chase Owens did it.
We've said this before. Yeah, if any of us go, we know who to check on. But wow, after the Forbidden Door card, we gone through Dynamite. We still managed to come round to dunking on Chase Owens.
We really like wrestling and dunking on Chase Owens.
This is not
Sabian.
Rightfully so.
Oh no, you and me, Libby. You and me.
We've got in slander for Jungle Boy, Orange Cassidy, Kip Sabian, even Jeff Jarrett. I wasn't involved, but we've got through a lot.
Now see what it's like. See what it's like.
I stand by the Jungle Boy slander personally.
Slay. You should. Forbidden Door. What do we think? How was it compared to last year? And what do you think out of 10? Or for MX, please describe a synonym for good, bad, or great.
Absolute banger. Really fantastic. It's hard to compare for me because I was there.
Yeah.
But I think it was better. It seemed more focused. It seemed like it had more going on. There were more risks.
Tread.
I can take it. I could take him.
Snatch.
It was Trent that got us into hot water before, and it would Trent who would do it again.
But yeah, I think it was fabulous. I think it was definitely an improvement of last year, and last year was pretty good.
I think there'll be a real struggle to beat this as a pay-per-view this year. Like bell to bell, it is one of the best pay-per-views that I have ever seen. It was fucking fantastic. All the matches served the purpose that they needed to do. The general flow of the card was really well done. I don't know, it's just, I don't know, 10 out of 10 maybe. That was a fucking great show.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. It's not I know it's not probably my show of the year. But it's up there. It's definitely one of those. It's like one of when you come to the end of the year, it's one you'll remember, and there's matches on it that you'll remember, and it's definitely. I'd maybe go for a 7 or an 8 with the odd match that was a bit like I'm not arsed. I don't need to see this, but then the great stuff outweighed that massively.
Yeah, I think I'm in a similar boat. I really, really, really enjoyed it. I do think it was better than last year. Do I think it's the best AEW pay-per-view ever? No.
I think all out after the pandemic when Adam Cole and Danielson debuted.
Oh, that one was pretty special. I think it's always really hard because the ceiling for AEW is very high, especially when it comes to their pay-per-views. And obviously, every pay-per-view is not going to be fantastic match. There will always be a little sleeper or whatever in there. But I think, this Forbidden Door was really, really great. I do think we're possibly going to get something that trumps it this year. I hope. That's what I would like, because this was very good, and I would love to have something even better. Selfishly.
Well, Stardom usually wait until December the 29th. To have a show that beats most, so which fucks up every pay-per-view of the year list.
I love how we've got official Wrestle in.
Yeah, I do realize. I thought that would be from my YouTube account. I've just realized that. So I don't know how to delete that, but yeah, I stand by that opinion. I don't know why I sent it to my YouTube account. I thought Trent, you can have a reply, but yeah, there you are. Stand by.
There it is. I love it.
He'll find us now.
He will find us now.
I don't know how I delete that.
That's fine. Well, listen, I wrote an entire article about all the Ibushi references in AEW like a year, 2 years ago, and I forgot I got mixed up with my golden trigger and my BT trigger. We all make mistakes. Sometimes we comment as wrestling on the live. It's fine.
we all do it. Really...
No one's perfect. We've all been there, haven't we? These things have all happened. I think, I'd like to think Forbidden Door was really, really great, but I think there's something better in the mix for us. It'd be very hard, I think, to beat some of the quality of the matches that we've had in this specific pay-per-view, but I don't know if I would say this pay-per-view is going to be the best one of the year. That's my vibe. My vibe.
What is the competition for the year so far?
Double or nothing. Double or nothing.
We listen.
You were at Revolution, right? That was good.
Yes, I had a really great Revolution. For me, Revolution was very as MX once said, Libby, you just like wrestling. And it's so true. On that Revolution card, there were just so many different matches and different types of matches that would just felt like real, like stuff that I just love. So I had a really good time, not including the Jeff Jarrett match that was on that card.
We don't do that here, Connor.
WrestleMania was actually very enjoyable. Hey, WrestleMania Night 1.
That Walter Freeway. Well, Gunther, sorry, but that was the match of the
Listen,
my favorite part of WrestleMania was the part with the rubber chicken.
Oh, the memes.
That was good.
Listen, Night 1 was
beautiful.
Like, wow. WWE have maybe really changed things around. Like, what a beautiful ending with Sammy and Kevin. And then Night 2 happened, and I think the rubber chicken was just the perfect metaphor for like, don't get your fucking hopes up. The rubber chicken is always
incredible. The memes were immaculate.
It's just the bit. The one that I seen was his music when at the wall bit, and they squeezed the rubber chicken. It was just fucking fantastic.
Interesting comment from Trish. We love Trish. Got wonderful Patreon member. We love you, Trish. New Japan has been better for me this year compared to AEW pay-per-views. I don't think Trish is completely wrong here. We're in a new era of New Japan, and there's something very fresh.
Yeah,
it's very, very fresh, very exciting. I think it's the first time I've been drawn back to New Japan since kind of pandemic times. It got very sad. Okada was being very overworked. Ibushi was in a really difficult situation. Just wasn't feeling it, and it's so fresh now. It's so exciting to see. I do think AEW has some work to do to kind of keep that freshness alive. This piece of hair is really it's really fighting me in this moment. I don't know what's happening there.
I've always enjoyed like New Japan shows. I won't say always, but a lot of the time. Like I enjoy like the style and the production of New Japan more than I enjoy most North American wrestling, and that includes AEW. However, I was very put off by the situation with Ibushi and some other stuff that had happened around that time. And then also at the time, the booking was just discouraging, is I think the best way that I can describe it. I have been tempted to wander back into New Japan this year. A lot of really exciting stuff has happened.
Yeah.
But
it's the best they've been since before the pandemic this last few months.
I believe it. It's almost enough to get me to try to follow the G1 in real time again.
It's an exciting G1. I also just want to say I just totally called Jen Trish because I read True Irish Redhead and my brain went Trish.
Yeah.
And it's
I
Jen.
just went along with you.
I apologize. That was the moment to be like, actually, that was it. That was the moment, Jen. I apologize so much. My tired brain. It's nearly 11 here. Totally, just my brain went to Trish. I do apologize so much. Yeah, I don't know. Alex, how much do you catch of New Japan? I'm not sure.
I have started watching it again. I'm really enjoying it. I'm a little bit like MX. A combination of pandemic bullshit booking and Ibushi took me away from it. I think like round about when they did Naito's championship reign dirty and then they followed it up with the Ibushi bullshit, I was just like, no, I'm done. And then I seen like that they were putting a focus on their younger talent, and I'm enjoying it a lot. I've watched a little bit more Puro this year. I've watched more indies this year, and to be honest, it's probably because I've been tiring a lot of AEW's bullshit. So it's been nice to kind of like watch a lot of different wrestling and get back into watching Stardom in New Japan.
This is the best era to be a wrestling fan, I think.
It is.
Just because the accessibility of wrestling is so good.
Yeah.
And, you know, if one company pisses you off, it's very easy to find very good wrestling somewhere else.
You will find great wrestling everywhere.
And then, like, you know, WWE notwithstanding, talent is going a lot of different places all of the time. So, you know, there's a big chance that you can still catch a couple of your faves if you go other places. And that's always really nice, too.
MX to watch the G1.
I should try to watch the G1. It's just like, I tried to watch 2021 G1, and it was rough. It's rough to be an adult with a full-time job and try to follow the G1. It's not because I don't want to follow the G1, because it is just some of the best goddamn wrestling you've ever seen in your life. But it's just like, it is such a time commitment. It's so easy to fall behind and get overwhelmed. The time zones are insane.
I just usually follow, like, if my mate goes, these two matches are great, watch those two matches.
Yeah.
Because I have a full-time job and I play Destiny. I have no life.
Yeah. I might just do all of the Eddie Kingston matches. And then whoever else is my favorite and just follow my faves.
It's a solid plan. Plan.
Avoid Chase Owens and Hikuleo. That
throwing a Hikuleo in there as well.
They're in the same chuffing block.
Oh my goodness! You don't hear a lot of Hikuleo hate. Don't hear a lot of Hikuleo.
You don't hear a lot of Hikuleo.
And with that, I think it is time to wrap up this stream. We have gone really long with this one, guys. Thank you for staying with us and watching, commenting. Really, really appreciate it. It has been absolutely lovely. Any closing thoughts, anyone? Anything to add before we wrap it on up?
Are we getting his plugs in before we go, in case anyone's still around?
We can do the plug. Your closing thought can be a plug, if that's what you would like.
I mean, I've talked about.
We're all thinking like, what should we say to wrap up the stream? James like, listen to my podcast.
You're exactly right, Alex. Because we talked about the G1. You can listen to last month's Pure Vision. It was been out a couple of weeks. We talked, myself, Ben, and Kay. We talked about previewing the G1. And we complained about Chase Owens and Hikuleo. So if that takes your fancy, then that's on there. And yeah, another plug. Follow me on Twitter, jjohnson_16. And Forbidden Door was good. That can be my ending thought.
Jamie writes excellent reviews on so many shows. I think Jamie watches the most wrestling here. Jamie is 100% worth a follow. For sure. No, it's good. It's all good. Alex, any closing thoughts?
I hope that AEW can follow up on this momentum and lead into All Out and All In. They're in a really strong position. There's a lot of buzz for this. I hope that they're able to do it. Also, subscribe to Stardom. Watch Stardom.
Yeah. open your bank account and be ready to spend for Stardom. It's a lot. It's very
just talk to Trent
everything.
about that. It's the gateway to the unknown. That.
There are many times when Trent has sent me a match and then I've had to message him back like, what do I do now? Like, this is fantastic. I'm supposed to just go back to like watch Jeff Jarrett tomorrow. Like, that's what I have to do now. Now I've watched this. Now you've had me in tears. I just gotta fucking watch like Jeff Jarrett do the same thing every week. Wow, great. You've
got to get the
Alex, just gonna put that up there.
Oh my god, Jen saying gateway to a second mortgage on the house. So true. MX, any closing thoughts? Plug yourself away. Oh wait, Alex, you want to plug yourself?
Oh yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Alex_M197 if you would like some facetious tweets.
They're great. Also great facetious tweets.
Alex is a great Twitter follow. I can vouch.
Definitely. MX, closing thoughts, a little plug.
Yeah. I hope I didn't come across as too negative on this because
you're more positive than I am. So
I truly love wrestling and I love this show. I guess one of my big parting thoughts was my big parting thought of the weekend is I got to travel to visit a friend that I met through wrestling, and I got to meet some other friends that I met through wrestling, and I just really appreciate wrestling for all of the wonderful people and all of the beauty it has brought into my life. So I'm really excited about that. And on that note, I'm a real big fan of North American independent wrestling, and myself and Adam do a podcast on the indies where we discuss it. Lots of GCW. Shut up, Alex. But also, whatever else catches our fancy. So it's a real good time, and my parting thought is just seek out the things that bring you joy in wrestling. If you find yourself kind of like digging into like the stuff that makes you really annoyed or makes you really negative or gets you into Twitter arguments, like I get that. I have that impulse myself, as I have demonstrated, but like really take the time out of your day to pursue the things that you love. Back watch your favorite wrestlers, look into new ones that you really like, because wrestling is wonderful despite it all.
That was beautiful. That was lovely. That was real nice.
I think we can close the show on that.
I hate to say this. What's your Twitter, MX? for more beautiful lyricism, sonnets.
I'm much stupider on Twitter. I am at Fake Sport Feel. I mostly just like retweet my funnier friends and talk about elite lore. So if you're into any of that.
It's just like, yeah. MX also another great follow.
Thank you.
And then there's me. Hi. Forbidden Door. It's a beautiful time that this exists. Wow, that's fucking cool that we can have New Japan AEW shows. You can listen to me, Alex and MX, which I'm sure you know because you're listening to this live stream, but we do have the All Elite Listening podcast where we do talk about funnily enough, All Elite Wrestling. And we were recording another episode this week. So there'll be one coming out soon. I'm also 1/3 with Kieran and Trent. Hi, Trent in the chat. I can't believe you woke up this early to join. We record into the Wrestleverse every Sunday for our Patreon members. We really just shoot the shit and say a lot of dumb stuff and recap the week. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of silly. It's also probably a fair amount of swearing too, now that I think about it. I don't tweet a lot, but you can follow me at Libby_Cadman. I mostly just retweet probably these 3 people here a lot. So if you like them and you like what they say, follow me because I will put it on your feed more. You're so welcome. And that's me really. I think that's me covered. I'm not very good at this stuff. One time I was at an AEW show and someone turned around to me and they went, you guys, you know so much about wrestling. I really like how you tell your friends about what's going on and what you talk about. And I was like, oh, thanks. He was like, you should have a podcast. I was like, oh, that's really nice of you to say. And everyone grabbed me and they're like, you have a podcast, Libby. Tell them about the podcast. I was like, oh shit, yeah. No, you were right. I am on a podcast. I do that. If you were that person and you did, and you followed wrestling and you're watching right now, hi, thanks. Thanks everyone for watching. Thank you very much. It's 8 a.m. for Trent, so it's not too bad, even though that's the time I wake up in the morning. I get that. I understand that. Thank you everyone for watching. Liam, there's a lot of swearing, mostly Kieran. That's true as well. Thank you for watching, for joining us, and have a lovely time, whether it's morning, night, evening. I'm excited to have a good sleep after this.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.